Good morning, AJC, Adam, Ambient, Craddy G. Good morning. I don't know that I've ever recognized you, Craddy G. Top of the morning to you. That's probably a me thing.
Probably.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. On this first Thursday of August, we've got football tonight. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. I am doing well rested, good night's sleep, fired up about today. The week, for whatever reason, last week flew by. This week is crawling by. It has felt a day later. Every day I get up, I feel like, well, today's Friday and it's Thursday.
Huh. Interesting.
For whatever reason, this week is dragged by. And
I
that's okay.
wonder, is it because it is the last full week until your daughter goes back to school? And let's face it, the two of you, since she chose not to go to any camps until at the very last minute, she went to one for like an hour and a half, okay? And that the two of you have been staring at one another for nearly 2 full months, that is why time is going slow, because let's face it, one of you needs to go to school.
And it's probably me. I think all of you would agree that I could probably use another year in the 4th grade.
Why? With all due respect, the report card's going to come back just the same. You talk too much. He talks too much in class. He bothers the other students.
Mrs. McKenzie was mean. That was my 4th grade teacher. Probably of all the grade school years, the meanest teacher I had. She was scary.
Really?
Scary.
Huh.
Mrs. Hoffman in 3rd grade was crazy. Mrs. McKenzie was scary.
Nice that at 8, 9, 10 years old, you were able to tell the difference. See? You're already ahead of the curve. Let me guess. You talked a little bit too much in both classes.
I talk too much in every class. That was a common denominator with my report card.
Yep. It's funny. My mother, who's got a little bit of hoarder in her, all right, she has saved a lot of things from my childhood. And as you know, her mom passed away almost 4 years ago. And so she has gone through more and more things because her mom saved even more stuff than she has. And so my mom's like, I got to thin the layers here a little bit, okay. And so she's finding, things from my childhood. And she did say to me the other day, in every one of your report cards, you talked entirely too much.
You'd like to go back to those teachers and say the two of us host a talk show now.
Right.
It does. There is a reason.
We put it to good use.
Yes.
And we thank you for tolerating us and then passing us through. We do. I don't think the Pac-12 is going to see middle school. I don't think it's going to get through grade school, though. And I don't know if it's talking too much. I think it's just going to, at the end of the day, it's going to get an F or an incomplete.
An incomplete, David. It's just going to cease to exist. There are many a school district, unfortunately, across this land that, because of population shifts and what have you, has just gone away. Place that I'm from doesn't even look like where it was that I grew up, with the number of high schools that have combined and merged and gone away. And that's basically what's happening with the Pac-12. They're just being absorbed.
It will be interesting if it remains the Pac-12 in name, or whether or not, with what is left of this conference, ends up getting absorbed by the Mountain West or Conference USA or what have you, and it literally goes away. That to me will be interesting, because it looks as if after today there will be at most 7 schools left. The thought is that there will only be 6. And with at least 2 of the remaining 6 in negotiations, discussions, hey, our application is filled out. I know you have it. So just let us know when we've been accepted to leave. So the Pac-12 is likely to be 4 soon. Maybe even before we kick off the college football season, which, by the way, is in 23 days. Week 0 is 3 weeks from Saturday. 23, 28, 35 are the magic numbers. 4 weeks tonight. The Gators are in Utah. By the way, still in the Pac-12. UCF plays their first game as a member of the Big 12, which is where Utah could be headed. 4 weeks tonight. And 5 weeks tonight, the Lions and the Chiefs. And Dan Campbell still not likely to have a live lion on the sideline, despite his best intentions. But I will say, though, this means the end of the Rose Bowl. I mean, it is far and away the most popular bowl game, and has historically been Big 10, Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12. I mean, this is it. I mean, because, come on, it's not going to mean anything to face San Diego State in that game.
When USC plays San Diego State, that Rose Bowl would have some meaning, David. I don't know what it is you're trying to get at there.
I'm sorry. That's true. Yeah, the USC would represent the Big Ten.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know none of us truly care about this conference. I don't know. I kind of feel like Pat Forty, the Sports Illustrated columnist, who wrote a piece yesterday going, really? Is this what we're all about now? Is this it? We're not about anything other than cash.
Yep. That's it. And David, I would roll this back to the old conferences tomorrow if we could. Hell, bring back the Southwest Conference. I'm all for it.
It was a nice little conference.
It really was.
Yeah.
But
not only that, the old Big 12 was actually a really nice little conference. I mean, Texas A&M, the Oklahomas, Colorado. It actually had all the schools in the closest geographic area of all the conferences. It was glorious, the old Big 12. Just like a dozen years ago. It was wonderful.
But this is how we've evolved. Good, bad, or indifferent. You can write articles and complain. You can do radio shows and complain, or you can try to look forward. And I'm not saying you're complaining, David. I'm just saying merely you either have to start moving along with it, which I think we've done a pretty good job of, or you get run over.
I would like to distinguish between complaining and then wistfully bemoaning. I feel like I have Barbra Streisand in the back of my head the way we were right now is just humming in the back of my head when I see all that is going on, with the college sports landscape. Mark, scattered pictures. That's just kind of how I feel this morning. For you, time is moving slowly this week. For me, it's also moving slowly, and it's doing so with the soundtrack of The Way We Were in the background as well. But don't worry, tonight, okay, the NFL will just, full speed ahead, baby. So I can see Mekhi Becton try to block a bunch of Browns who aren't going to make their team either. Yep. I'm all in. All in. Mm-hmm.
Bemoan, huh?
Bemoan. Yes. Thank you. Wistful.
Wistful
bemoaning. Yes.
As opposed to complaining.
Correct.
We've learned the difference this morning on Miller and Moulton.
It's very
Next
subtle.
line is open if you'd like to bemoan. 21,000 is the number. Or if you'd like to complain.
Or if you're feeling wistful.
Any of the above.
Maybe, in fact, could be the poll question. How would you characterize Miller and or Moulton this morning? Are they complaining? Are they bemoaning? Or are they wistful?
I just wanted to have a poll question of what conference Florida State's going to be in 2025.
Go. I love it. Done. Look at that. Not even to our first break yet.
And I think we can have 4 answers. I think the Big 12 isn't a real popular one. But if they're leaving, they've got to find a home somewhere.
Well, and they have to find it quickly. It's funny. My vote will be the ACC, by the way, in 2025. I don't know that they got to find a home, but in the next 3 weeks, they'd have to announce that next year's their last year, right?
Yes. I mean, would they have to announce it? No, but the way that they're acting, they would want to announce it.
I guess they could in the next 3 weeks strike a deal and say, this is our last year in the ACC, which, by the way, the ACC is like, you have read the grant of rights, correct? You're going to owe us all your money. But, okay, if you're hell-bent on doing this, if we suck that much, okay, just so you know, the checks will be a-flowing our way. So we find what you're doing right now to be quite humorous. Knock yourself out there, Knowles.
And the Knowles, on the other hand, are just PO'd at everybody.
This conference sucks.
Maybe even themselves a little bit for signing this deal.
This conference sucks. This conference is going to bury us. We can't afford to stay. Don't know if we can afford to leave, but I know we can't afford to stay. That's how much it sucks. You know what they're doing, by the way? They're not bemoaning. They're not being wistful. They're complaining.
Loudly. The board of trustees, the president of the university, everybody.
You suck, and you suck, and man, does this money suck.
And we're leaving. We don't know where we're going. We don't know how we're getting there, but we are the hell out of here.
I don't have a place to live, but I ain't living here anymore. Life on the street be better than this. ACC. Bunch of crap, I tell you.
Miller and Moulton, another great show lined up for you. The starting 5 is 25 minutes away right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, KW, I find the Cowherd stuff fascinating. When you have 2 years left on a contract, I mean, I don't know if that's coming from Cowherd's agent or what. Because also, if you're ESPN radio, television, you're pinning your whatever on a guy who's not even eligible to be yours for 2 years. Plus, Fox isn't going to get outbid for Cowherd. That ain't happening. As for members of Congress, Congress had nothing to do with sports gambling. The Supreme Court expanded sports gambling. And KW, I have a very hard time believing that the Big Ten has a ton of interest in Cal and Stanford.
I think they have more interest in Florida State and Clemson. I would. I'm amazed there's no one else in the ACC that's saying squat besides Florida State.
I think because they're trying to find out from the Big 12, do they have a place to go? I mean, Carolina and Virginia are trying to see would the Big Ten take us. They're letting Florida State play the villain. Everybody's letting Florida State be the bad guy.
I'm just surprised you haven't heard one other school. Nothing. I spent yesterday spending a lot of time searching. Nothing.
Well, I do think that a lot of the conference is a little taken aback by Florida State. I mean, I think most of the rest of the conference is operating under the assumption that we're screwed. This grant of rights thing seems legally sound. By the way, here's a dirty little secret. Florida State's not going to break up the ACC. ESPN is. You know, Mark, we talked about our Notre Dame proposal for the ACC.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
The Pac-12 should have done that with USC when you really think about it. If USC stays, the conference stays together.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour on this first Thursday in August. There is NFL football. At least it's disguised as NFL football. They'll have real NFL helmets. There will be a couple of NFL head coaches on the sidelines. Whole bunch of people not playing who you've heard of before. The Hall of Fame game, Jets and Browns. If you're a degenerate, it's the Browns -2.5. Well, you know, home field advantage at all in Canton, Ohio. Mark, remember that scene in Godfather 3? The only memorable scene in that awful movie? Pacino in the kitchen? You know?
Absolutely.
They're trying to get out. They pulled me back in. Damn Marlins did it to me last night. Angry with their fan base. I'm done with them. There's no sense paying attention to this team anymore. Obviously, only 17 people care. The rest of the people at the ballpark are Phillies fans. We're never going to talk about them again. We're not going to have their radio guy on anymore. Nobody gives a damn.
And you're right on all accounts, with the exception of half of the show.
And Mark, that might have been the best baseball game of the year last night. It was amazing. They came from 5-0 down in the 6th, 5-2 down in the 8th, 5-4 down in the 9th, 7-5 down in the 10th, 8-7 down in the 11th, won it in 12. It was an amazing game. It's the type of game in which, as it's playing out, you're like, this is their season. They lose this game, they're done. Emotionally, just stab them in the neck. They're going to come back at noon tomorrow, get swept in a 4-game series. We'll never hear from them again. But, man, if they can pull this sucker out, it was glorious. Hell, not only that, Mark, their marketing department came up with a promotion on the fly. They acquired this guy named Jake Berger to play third base for them.
Right?
So, you know, what's the obvious? What's his last name again?
Burger.
What do we have to do?
Sell some burgers.
And you know what?
Maybe give some away.
Let's make them on special too. How much we normally charge for these things? $13? Tell you what, tonight, $5. Let's welcome Jake Berger to the franchise. We're selling $5 burgers. I know you don't know who he is, but that's okay.
He
Just
delivered
play
a
along
couple
at
of
home.
hits, scored a run.
Yeah. After the game said it's the most fun game he's ever played in. He hadn't even had one of his own burgers yet. I mean, you do get one of your own burgers, right? They do a promotion after you. Don't they have to keep a few hot for afterwards?
You would hope there'd be a couple in the clubhouse for him after the game.
Right. I mean, it's the Marlins. It's not like, they're paying full, freight or anything. So you got to come up with some perks. So anyway, not only that, Messi was playing last night, scored 2 more goals.
Yeah, I mean, those rec league games are really tough for him.
Well,
It's really
they
just it's child's play, honestly.
they did knock him down a few times last night. Apparently, he should have been kicked out of the game. He got an early yellow, and then later he steamrolled somebody from behind. Should have gotten a second yellow and kicked out.
They're not doing that.
Exactly. Hello? Are you serious?
Probably should have got a second yellow. Who cares? Do they give double yellows in rec league soccer?
Not to the best player in the league, not to the guy who organized the league.
Anybody that questions my thoughts on MLS, and I'm a supporter of the league. I think the league's still, I've been buying the league for a decade. But I've also said it's maybe the 5th or 6th best league in the world. I was wrong. I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, 5th or 6th is nice. It's leaning more towards 10th.
Yeah.
Or lower.
Actually, for the record, Mark settled on 8th best league in the world a couple years ago. All right. He's feeling, he's trying to be nice and say 5th or 6th. He settled on it's the 8th best league in the world. I forget, we had a soccer guy on, and Mark just, kind of defiantly was like, well, name the leagues that are better in the MLS. Go. And he started saying, well, this one and this one and this one and this one, and I knew when I heard La Liga, I'm like, oh, wow, we're really going to be far down the list here.
I mean, this is great. Messi coming to Miami. I hope everybody that wants to go see a game has the ability to go see him play. And I'm not joking when I say that. I think it's fantastic that he's here. It is great for American soccer. We've had all these friendlies around the country that are doing huge numbers of tickets. Soccer is booming in this country. He's treating this league like it's my daughter's 9 and under soccer league.
So he has 5 goals in 3 matches. What are you trying to say? I mean, he's grocery shopping and looking for a new house in amongst all this. I mean, he's busy. He's not fully focused on what's going on. He's still got 5 goals in 3 matches. Hell, Jeter went to his first ever soccer match last night. That's how big a deal Messi is.
And I'm not trying to overshadow any of it, but does anybody else notice that he is treating this like a kids' league?
Did you see the amount of space that he had
Yes!
in his first goal? I mean, child's play. It's ridiculous. You're sticking your arm out and the toddler is not getting near you.
Here, I'm going to pull my Ted Lasso really quickly. Keep somebody on Messi. That's my defense if I'm Atlanta. Someone make sure they're near Messi. You see him? I don't want him alone the whole game.
At all times. There needs to be a body on him.
What number is he? Don't worry. You'll be able to figure it out.
It's either a lack of talent or they're all just starstruck.
What number is he? They're all lining up trying to exchange jerseys with him after the game. They're all aware.
Apparently not one guy in Orlando last night. He was damn near getting into a fight with him when they were walking onto the pitch. Oh, no. Tensions were high, Mark. When Miami and Orlando get together. No, not in the NBA. In an MLS, whatever midseason tournament they got going on right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Toying with the entire league.
Twice as many people at the soccer match last night as at the Marlins-Phillies game.
More stars at the soccer match.
Well, that's true. There were better players. At least one player who was better.
Yep.
Right. This just in, Messi trumps the Marlins.
All day, every day.
Unfortunately, the best player was also at the soccer match. He was Jeter.
So the best soccer player and best baseball player were both at the soccer match.
Right. And for that matter, best singer, because Mark Anthony was there too. Damn, they got everything going on. What a great win for the Marlins last night. Okay, that's it. I got it out of my system. I'll try to be angry at them again. But they pulled me back in.
That's what I
last
like to hear.
night.
That's what I like to hear. Welcome to Miami, Josh Bell.
Yeah, 4-5 last night. That's one way to start it out.
Yes.
I mean, those 10 Marlin fans really are going to like him.
Oh, yeah. 2 RBIs and a home run.
I will say there was a prop bet last night because Josh Bell had success against Zach Wheeler, and he had hit a couple monster homers against Wheeler in the past. That was a prop bet if you're a degenerate that was there for the taking. So they got Josh Bell. They got the burger guy, the $5 burger guy at the hot corner. They came from 5-0 down on $5 burger night. Trailed in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
It's the third time this year the Phillies have blown a lead of 5 runs or more. That's hard to do once, let alone 3 times in a season.
And not only that, they overcame Robertson with another bad performance. He gave up a 2-run shot in the 10th. Marlins come all the way back, tie it at 5. They go to the 10th, and Robertson gives up a 2-run homer. Oh, boy. This guy was lights out for the Mets this year. 2 of his 3 appearances as a Marlin, he's thrown gasoline on the fire.
That's what happens when you go from playing from the Mets to playing important baseball, David.
Well played, Mark. Well played.
Yep, and that's a factual statement right now. That's a
Yeah, right,
scary
it is.
thought. Miller and Moulton, the starting 5 is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call. Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You know, that Cubs run differential is looking better and better after the last 2 days.
Well, they've scored 36 runs.
Right. So season series for the last wild card spot too?
Yeah. The second tiebreaker, let's just say they played 6 times and they were 3-3. The second tiebreaker is the team with the best overall record in intra-division games. Then it'll be the team with the best overall record in intra-league games. Yeah, Adam, I saw the huge, messy Hard Rock ad in Times Square in New York City when I was there 2 weeks ago. You know, he's got his own, like chef's outfit, and it just says messy. And he's leaning on the table with this big burger in front of him.
Here we go.
Burger looked good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Easterling covers the Browns for the Akron Beacon Journal. We got preseason football tonight, the Hall of Fame game. Browns are in it. Find out what life is like this year. Remember last year at this time, you had the whole Deshaun Watson saga. And college realignment. We'll call our buddy Greg Swaim. Get him back on the show. He made a couple of big predictions 2 days ago. And it's funny, even though they haven't officially come to pass, it sure does seem unofficially as if he was right. We'll talk to Greg in a couple hours. But first, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
All right, since it's a baseball hour, I'll stay with baseball. Number 1. Rays got a Wander Franco 2-run homer in the first. You're thinking, well, they're just going to sweep the Yankees and put them out of their misery. But the Yankees responded with a 5-run third against Shane McClanahan. He gave up 2 homers, including a 3-run shot to Stanton, which was the difference. McClanahan left after 4. He said he experienced tightness on the outside of his forearm. He was immediately sent back to Tampa to have tests done today. Yankees 7-2. Rays stay a game and a half back of the Orioles because Toronto beat them 4-1 by scoring 3 in the 6th, despite only having 3 hits in the game. Yankees stay 3.5 back of Toronto for the final playoff spot in the American League. Meanwhile, Red Sox lose a game to the Jays in a chase for the final wild card because Seattle scored 4 in the 7th to beat them 6-3. Boston 2.5 back, Seattle 3.5 back for the final wild card. National League, we talked about it a moment ago. The Marlins were down 5-0 in the 6th, 5-2 in the 8th, 5-4 in the 9th, 7-5 in the 10th, 8-7 in the 11th, and won it 9-8 and 12. Jesus Sanchez with the game-winning RBI. And boy, the 12,669 on hand were fired up. Whatever. Marlins now tied with Milwaukee for the final playoff spot in the National League. The Phillies are a half a game ahead of both in the 5 seed. Speaking of Milwaukee, they lost to Washington 3-2 thanks to 2 unearned runs in the 9th. But they didn't lose any ground to the Reds. They're still a half a game back because the Cubs took them to the woodshed for the 2nd straight day. You know, Mark, on Tuesday, the Cubs scored 20 runs. You know how many they scored last night?
16.
That's 36 in 2 games.
You know what the Reds didn't do at the trade deadline?
They didn't get any pitching.
Not a bit.
And the thought was the Reds needed more starting pitching.
It wasn't much of a thought. It's a fact.
I don't know what you're talking about. They've only been outscored 36-15 in the last 2 games. Cubs with 5 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th. Ian Happ with 2 homers. Reds still lead by a half a game, but guess what? Cubbies are 3 back.
Think about that. You score 15 runs in 2 games and you're minus 21.
Last time, by the way, the Cubs scored as many as 36 runs in a 2-game sequence. 1897.
Yeah. Not even the aughts, David.
Nope. 19th century, baby. 19th century. Even Walter Johnson's going, man, that was a long time ago. Ty Cobb even's going, man, it's way back. Braves swept the Angels 12-5 the final. Listen, the Braves, Matt Olson's got 37 homers. Only Ohtani has more. Acuna and Austin Riley each hit their 25th homer yesterday. Acuna could hit 40 homers and steal 80 bases this year. That's all. No big deal or anything. 40-80. Yeah, it's either going to be Olson or Acuna who wins the National League MVP, even though Freddie Freeman's having an amazing season in L.A. Angels now 4 back in the wild card. They're behind the Yankees, the Mariners, the Red Sox, and Toronto for the final playoff spot. But hey, they held on to Ohtani, and they traded away a lot of their top prospects. Good luck, boys. Texas 11-1 over the White Sox. They hit 3 homers. Corey Seager with a homer and 3 RBIs. Rangers still a half a game ahead of the Astros, who got 2 homers from Chas McCormick in a 3-2 win over the Guardians. Guardians, meanwhile, remain 2 games behind the Twins. Cardinals beat Minnesota 7-3 because they hit 4 homers. Twins 2-game lead. Padres get the 100th career homer from Tatis in an 11-1 win over Colorado. They're kind of still hanging around.
They're just hanging around, David. They're below 500. They're still within shouting distance of the wild card. Nothing to see here, David. Nothing to see. Move along.
They kept everybody, and in fact, they even added some pieces. Tell you what, you'd feel a little bit better about the Padres' chances if it wasn't for the Cubs. First, they got to get ahead of the Cubs before they go Arizona, Miami, Milwaukee, Cincinnati hunting. Dodgers 10-1 over Oakland. Freddie Freeman, 3 more hits. Mookie Betts with his 29th homer. Mookie may hit 40 this year. Their lead's 2.5 out west. Giants double up Arizona 4-2. Giants are the 4 seed right now in the NL playoffs, 2.5 back of the Dodgers. Diamondbacks a game out of the wild card. Miami and Milwaukee tied for the final playoff spot right now in the National League. Break up the Royals. They've won 5 in a row. Remember when Oakland won 7 in a row like a month ago? Well, now the Royals are doing it. 4-0 over the Mets. 6-3, Detroit beat Pittsburgh. Zach Short with 3 RBIs. And listen, if you're down just about life and the pursuit of happiness and you're feeling, bad, things aren't going well, you could be White Sox closer Liam Hendricks. It's bad enough in spring training he found out he had cancer. So then he fights that off for the time being. And he comes back, and it's an inspiring story, only for him to blow out his elbow. Now he's got Tommy John surgery. And since he blew it out at the end of July, he's not only going to miss the rest of this year, he's going to miss all of next year. So he's going to have to go back to fighting cancer while rehabbing from Tommy John, hoping to pitch again in 2025. So in other words, your life's not half bad. That's what I'm trying to say. That's all. College football, meanwhile, you could be the Pac-12. Think about that. The death of the Pac-12 is being widely reported. There's another Arizona board meeting tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, in which it's fully expected both Arizona and Arizona State will announce that they are leaving and going to the Big 12. That means 15 teams will be in the conference. Obviously, conferences like to be nice, even numbers. So who will be the 16th? Utah's apparently on the fence. They don't like the idea of following BYU around. Then again, follow BYU or stay in the Pac, whatever the hell it is.
Right.
7. So, and if not Utah, will it be UConn? The Big Ten, once the death of the Pac-12 was being widely reported, they said, well, I got to admit, we're really only interested in getting USC and UCLA acclimated. But, if Oregon and Washington are going to become available, I guess we should, do our due diligence. At which people said, didn't you already do that?
We're going to do it again. We're going to have another meeting.
Haven't they already been cleared? The SEC was then asked, well, what about you guys? And Greg Sankey said, listen, come on, we got Oklahoma and Texas coming in. Okay, we're very content with 16 teams for now. Oh, I had to throw that little thing at the end there. For now. So you're meaning like by tomorrow you could change your mind? Which is what Florida State's hoping for because, well, they all but announced they're leaving. In fact, one of their board members did announce they were leaving the ACC yesterday. The school president said, we love the ACC, but just financially they're going to, run us into bankruptcy. If they can figure out a way financially to give us like all their money, we'd stay. But otherwise, we'd probably have to entertain other ideas. Meanwhile, all the board members around them are like, the ACC sucks. We want out. And one board member said, and I'm quoting, it's not a matter of if we leave, but when and where. I tell you. And you want to know why they couldn't figure out NIL. Are you serious? Come on. But remember, can't give the student athletes, I use that term very loosely, can't give them, there's too much money going their way. Okay?
This NIL is a joke. This transfer portal is ruining college athletics.
Right.
Can I get more money if we leave this conference? Because we need more money. Is it for the players? No.
Listen, if this 4-star from Ocala gets any more money, we might break up the Pac-12 and the ACC. Tom Brady, by the way, bought into Birmingham City yesterday. They're in one of those leagues that's light years better than the MLS, Mark. Apparently, it's officially a second-tier soccer club.
Right. It's the Champions League, I believe. It's the league below the Premier League.
Okay.
Far better than MLS.
Right. He bought into Birmingham City. And he said, I don't know anything about football, but, what can I tell you? I'm in. I do know a little bit about winning, though. So, maybe there's some way I can help. But he said, I'll see you at St. Andrews. Speaking of on the pitch, Inter Miami beat Orlando City 3-1. This Messi guy scored 2 more goals. Criminal charges, back to college sports. Criminal charges for gambling now against 7 current or former Iowa and Iowa State athletes. One of the athletes yesterday was named as Iowa State quarterback Hunter Deckers. Now Iowa kicker Aaron Blom has also been mentioned. Did you see what he did? He opened up an account in his mom's name. Apparently his mom's a degenerate gambler, man. She placed like 2,900 bets. Apparently at like $4 at a time, though.
He's not the only one. Apparently an Iowa baseball player did the same thing, had mom laying bets for him. I mean,
right. So
open it up in mom's name.
Former Northwestern football player Ramon Diaz filed a lawsuit against Northwestern alleging racial discrimination. This is going to just be, I mean, honestly, the breakup of the Pac-12 is going to look neat and polite compared to this Northwestern thing by the time it's done. And it's only going to take years, too. It's not like it's going to drag on. Hall of Fame game tonight. Browns a 2.5-point favorite against the Jets. 8 o'clock on NBC. Cooper Kupp's hamstring. He's going to miss a few weeks. Fortunately, he's got 5.5 to be ready for the Rams opener in Seattle. PGA Tour, Mark. They're in Wyndham, which is Greensboro, North Carolina. LPGA Scottish Open. And Jimmy Johnson elected into the NASCAR Hall of Fame yesterday, not unanimous. 4 voters left him off. He won 83 races, 6th all time. He won 7 Cup championships, tied for the most all time with Earnhardt and Petty. And apparently, according to 4 voters, not worthy of the Hall of Fame.
It's that whole first ballot thing, David. You know how that goes.
I didn't realize
it's a big deal in NASCAR.
I didn't realize that was a thing in NASCAR. I just thought that was a Cooperstown thing. I didn't realize it was a Charlotte thing. Chad Knaus is crew chief, who, by the way, it's tough to find crew chiefs who cheated better than Chad Knaus. Okay. He also got in. So did racing legend Donnie Allison. And they gave an award to Janet Guthrie because she was the first woman to race in a NASCAR race back in the mid-70s. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I've become more of a NASCAR novice in the past couple of years than I have before, but I want to question all 4 of those voters.
You think? Yep.
I mean, that's an interview I want. Go ahead. Explain why. And when
Denny,
you're done, it's not good enough.
No, a couple of NASCAR drivers were like, you need to out the 4, and they got to be done. You got to be kidding me.
I mean, that's an absolute joke.
I mean, I didn't like Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
Boring as hell. Right. But come on. 7 Cup championships, 83 wins. Are you serious? Hall of Fame. I don't know. I don't think now, no. Let me think about it some more.
That's just stunning to me. Miller and Moulton. That was the Starting 5. More on the other side right here, Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You bet. Morning Spitz, and yes, Adam. They go in together.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Thursday of August. Thanks so much to be with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, and that's where you need to go to sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit. With Dr. Roto, 12 nights from tonight, Tuesday the 15th. It's in Fort Myers. It's at the Crown Plaza and the Bell Tower Shops. They have a nice little sports bar there called Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe. They got a separate room, comfortable seating for 50 plus. And so we're going to put 50 of you in the room with Dr. Roto. We're going to feed you. You get dinner. If you want to buy alcoholic drinks, you can do that. Otherwise, we'll pump you with coffee and anything else that you want for, comes with the package. Dinner and Dr. Roto. Get all your fantasy football info. And then have a great fantasy draft. And then win your damn fantasy league. Huh?
Bragging rights.
Yeah. Trying to get your fantasy football season off to a great start. Dinner and Dr. Roto, our fantasy football summit. Only one way to be there, floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up today.
21,000 is the text line, 21000. If you want to chime in on the show, we've been talking conference realignment for the past couple of days because it is very hot and heavy. Florida State yesterday basically announcing they're leaving the ACC. I mean,
one board member did announce it. I mean, when you really, listen.
No, he did. No, you're right. He did.
We're leaving the ACC one way or another. It's not if we leave the ACC, but where and when. I mean, is there any way to misconstrue that?
No.
I mean, I guess somebody can tap him on the shoulder and say, listen, Al Haig, you're not in charge here. Okay, we could still go back. I mean, if they give us enough money, we'll stay.
And that's what the president said.
Right.
I mean, the only problem is, unless the ACC is prepared to give Florida State, I don't know, 25% of the money that the conference gets, I don't see how this works for Florida State down the road.
And obviously Clemson wants whatever Florida State's getting. I mean, Clemson's got their hand up in the air going, for the last 8 years, we've kind of carried this conference.
And North Carolina's standing there going, what about us?
Yeah, we are kind of the heart and soul of this conference. Hello. But
so
can we talk?
We give them 60, 60, and 60. That leaves 60 for the rest of the conference.
Right. You guys okay getting about 5 to 7 each? Is that good? Does that work for you? Okay. I mean, it's kind of like being in the AAC, but you still get to say you're in the ACC. Are we good?
Well, that's the other side of this, David, from in terms of the ACC. Florida State wants a revenue balance that makes them the top dog. So does Clemson. I don't know how that model works for Miami, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech. You want to push Wake Forest around, you want to push Syracuse around, you want to push Boston College around. That's one thing. There are some other member schools in the ACC, David, that I think are going to not take this lying down, if you know what I mean.
Well, let's be honest. If we were those other schools, as you put them, and there's about 10 of them really that can all be, lumped together. Whether they think they should be lumped together or not, it's a different story. I mean, at this point, you picking up the phone, you're calling. Call the Big Ten. Any interest? SEC. Any interest? There's probably no interest from the SEC. There might be slight interest from the Big Ten if the Big Ten has if we go to 24, maybe we take you and you. But the one that you're calling is the Big 12. You're like, listen, you guys apparently are going to 16, and you're going to 16 before the weekend. Because the word is Arizona and Arizona State at a board meeting tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, they're going to announce they're leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12. At which point, the Big 12 is going to have to go find a 16th. And there's conflicting reports as to whether or not Utah is coming or whether or not they're going to go in a different direction.
Utah, for the record, would be foolish to not go to the Big 12.
I agree.
If they are going to sit there and not go to the Big 12 because of BYU, it is a very short-sighted and dumb decision on Utah's part.
I mean, this is where ego aside and, you don't like your rival, et cetera, but do you really think you're going to do better in the Big 12? I mean, you really think you're going to the Big 10? Even though, the Salt Lake City market, I mean, it is a major market. It's a top 30 market in this country. I mean, they do have an NBA team there. They've hosted an Olympics, for goodness sake. They're probably going to host another one in 10 or so years when another Winter Olympics. I mean, it's a major market in this country. It's just not thought of one. But back to some other schools here. What is Miami thinking? What is Miami thinking right now? And what would you be thinking, Mark, if you're Dan Radikevich there and you're Miami?
Well, I would be on the phone with the Big Ten, obviously. The problem then becomes if the Big Ten's not interested. Then what? Because I think Miami would feel that they are most aligned with the Big Ten if they're going to leave the ACC.
Yeah, I think academically they think of themselves more as a Big Ten school than an SEC school. Yes, their credentials on paper are more Big Ten than SEC. All right, and they've got a big thing in the Northeast, and it just works for them better, I think. Okay, fine. What if you're Miami, I'm the Big Ten? And this is the answer, I think, by the way, because Miami certainly made the phone call. This is the answer I think they got. Well, we're not interested right now, but if we go, super deluxe here, we are interested. Well, when do you think that would be? Well, I don't think, I don't think it would happen before 2025. In fact, I'm positive it wouldn't happen before 2025. I don't know if it would happen before 2026. So, I don't know what to tell you. It's not a no. It could be a yes, but all hell would have to break loose. And, we have not had Fox, CBS, and NBC tell us that they're ready to finance a 24-team conference yet, or even a 20-team conference for that matter. And here's the other thing I would say to you. I would say to you, to be honest with you, Miami, it probably depends on if Notre Dame comes. If Notre Dame comes, then you're coming too. But if Notre Dame doesn't come, your odds of joining us go down.
And I don't think it could happen, but David, help me out here. You have a better grasp of the networks and what they would spend. We have bantered about the idea of Big East football coming back.
We're the only ones, by the way.
I know. It only works if Notre Dame joins. But if Florida and Florida State want to leave the ACC, break up the ACC, take a few members with them, is there any interest in those two schools if they started their own conference? Is there
two schools?
Miami and Florida State.
No. Not. I don't believe. Okay. Let me backtrack. ESPN a year from now becomes the only media partner for the SEC. And ESPN right now, outside of 50 football and basketball games on the CW, ESPN is the only media partner for the ACC. They spend roughly $240 million a year on the ACC schools, plus they finance a network. So you figure, Mark, they got $250 to $300 million a year that if the ACC goes away, now immediately returns to them. So what would they do with that $250 to $300 million? Well, would they really help finance a brand new conference? Or would they instead say to Florida State and Clemson, well, join the SEC and we'll give you each $60 million. We'll throw $120 million a year into the pot. Okay, that's how you can join the SEC. Everybody's piece of the pie remains the same. The SEC goes to 18, and everybody's happy. And we still have $100 to $150 million still in our pocket.
It's why Notre Dame holds the keys to this whole situation. What they do, where they go, how they plan to pursue college football in the future, to me, is everything of what these conferences are going to do.
Okay. You be Notre Dame, who, by the way, has a lame duck athletic director in Jack Swarbrick, who's already announced that his heir apparent in 10 months is going to be a guy by the name of Pete Bavacqua. Do you know what Pete Bavacqua's current job is? Like number 3 guy at NBC Sports. Not that television and money is important to being a major athletic director anymore. No, not at all. So back to Notre Dame. To quote our favorite COO from the Cincinnati Reds, where are you going to go?
David, I think the best move for Notre Dame is to make the ACC whole.
Our idea.
But I think it's the best idea for Notre Dame. I'd like, as a Big Ten guy, as a guy who grew up in Michigan and went to so many Michigan State Notre Dame games and Michigan Notre Dame games. I've been to Michigan Notre Dame games in Ann Arbor. I've been to them in South Bend. And I hate both those schools, but I know how great they are for college football. Notre Dame belongs in the Big Ten. I believe that in my heart. I always have. If I were Notre Dame, however, the move that makes the most sense to me is to go to the ACC.
Well, it certainly is not to go to the Big Ten. You're only going to the Big Ten for the money because you're going to go there and you're going to get beat up. I mean, you just are. So why do you want to go there? Don't you want to go to a conference where you have a better chance of winning, especially if Florida State, Clemson, and half the conference may get up and leave? That's why our plan, and by the way, we had this plan 75 days ago. We saw this coming April, May. We said, if I'm Notre Dame in the ACC, I make a side deal. I let all the schools that think they're leaving us because we suck, let them all leave. Every single one of them. In fact, help pay for the move. And then as soon as they're out the door, you close it behind them, you lock them, and you go to the podium and you go, by the way, I'd like to welcome our newest member of the ACC, Notre Dame. How you doing? You give Notre Dame the first $100 million. By the way, your TV deal with ESPN, that gets ripped up because Notre Dame just joined. You're not worth $240 million a year. Hell, you're worth at least $340 million a year. And you probably get NBC to join in on your conference as well. But if you don't do it, ACC, what's going to be left?
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call. Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Olazabal named vice captain.
I think that's done solely for Rahm because they're not going to put Sergio on the team. And I think it's done solely for Rahm. Rahm is not happy. Was still lobbying for Sergio earlier in the week. Basically saying he gets me. He gets my intensity. He can play off it. And remember, they were the only golfers who did anything last time around. Euros got destroyed, and those two guys got 3 points.
You all right over there?
Yeah.
He wasn't on last time, Johnny Mac.
For the record, I just did a quick Jets win-loss. I've got them 9-7.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Go to our site, sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit presented by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, floridasportsnetwork.com, 12 nights from tonight, the 15th, in Fort Myers. Got the Hall of Fame game tonight. We give out magic numbers. We've been doing it for a while. Once it gets under 100, we do the magic numbers. Done that for years on this show. 23, 28, and 35. 23 days from today, week 0, the college football season kicks off. You know, Notre Dame and soon-to-be Big Ten member USC in action. 4 weeks tonight, Utah, currently in the Pac-12, soon to be in the Big 12, hosting the Gators. We're pretty sure they're staying in the SEC. And 5 weeks tonight, Lions and Chiefs, kicking off the NFL season, 23, 28, and 35. You just played the schedule game during the break, didn't you?
I did with the Jets.
Wow. Now, full disclosure.
I hate the Jets.
You're angry at the Jets.
There's no team that I'm rooting against more in sports this year than the New York Jets.
All because they were whining about Hard Knocks.
Yes. Doesn't take much for me. You know me pretty well, David. It does not take much for me to turn on or against a team.
Mark, one of the things that bonded us 20 plus years ago was we both recognized the other could hold a grudge with the best of them. And it actually brought us together. We kind of looked at everybody and said, yes, we know we have that gene and you don't. And that probably makes you better people than us. But I don't know what to tell you. I'm with him. So to review, Mark Miller is all over the Cincinnati Bengals because Joe Burrow wouldn't go to the Taylor Swift concert.
He's not a Swiftie. And he admitted so publicly, which is tough to do in 2023. If you're a young, popular athlete, actor, to say you're not a Swiftie, it's easy for two old guys to say it. But this is a hip guy in his 20s. Everybody in their 20s is a Swiftie.
I know. It's like 10 years ago, taking on the Beehive. I mean, you didn't live to talk about it. I'll tell you that. So to review, you're all in. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are winning the Super Bowl. Okay, whether Taylor Swift performs at halftime or not. And you hate the Jets because they whined about being on Hard Knocks.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So with that scientific backing behind it, you went through the Jets schedule.
And I wanted to do it very negatively.
Which I'm guessing you pulled off.
And I had them 9-7 heading into the final week at New England.
Wow. That's worse than most people have them. So you must have been pretty negative.
I will say, it could start out ugly.
Yes.
For the Jets.
No, we said their first 6 games. Don't be surprised if they're 3-3, and that won't be bad.
If they're 3-3, they're going to win 12 games. I'm not messing around here. I could see 2-4. Hell, I could see 1-5.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. Lay them on us here.
They open with Buffalo.
Right. At home, Monday Night Football.
It's a monster game.
On September 11th.
It's a monster game for the Jets. Because if the Jets lose this game, they're already 0-1 in the division, and they've lost a home divisional game.
Okay.
But I'm predicting a loss.
They did beat the Bills at home last year. It was actually the game Josh Allen got hurt. Okay.
I'm picking the Bills.
Okay.
The Jets are 0-1.
Right.
They go to Dallas.
Uh-huh.
They're 0-2.
Wow. Look at you. Aaron Rodgers has performed pretty well in that stadium before. Beat the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Have you not been paying attention? The Cowboys are winning everything this year. Haven't you been paying any attention to the national media?
Yeah,
Cowboys are terrific. Dak's excellent. It's all figured out. Jerry's going to win a Super Bowl.
Well, he's not excellent according to their highly paid cornerback. You know what he is? Can't say it on this show.
No, we don't use that word.
No. So, okay, they're 0-2.
Then they beat New England at home.
Okay. Yay.
Then they lose to Kansas City.
Home or away?
Home.
Oh, wow. So they're 1-3.
Heading to Denver.
Oh, yeah, that's right. By the way, that game cannot be flexed because the Cowboys are the Sunday Night Football game that week. So the
Couldn't be
CBS
flexed. It
is
was too earlier in the year, right?
correct. I mean, they can't move it. The Cowboys are already scheduled. So CBS will get that game, though. That'll be a Nance and Romo 425 on CBS. Jets at Denver with all the bad blood. Wow. That was something right there. Okay. So they're 1-3. They're going to Denver. You have them losing?
That's the toss-up game because they're going to lose the next week at home against Philadelphia.
You do have them losing a bunch of home games, by the way.
I understand.
I mean, they are playing good teams. Buffalo,
They're playing really good teams.
Philadelphia. Yes. Okay.
I have them losing 2 home games, 3 home games to the Super Bowl champs, the team that lost the Super Bowl, and the team that won the division last year. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. Give them a win against Denver. You know, they win one for Hackett. He gets the game ball afterwards.
So they're
Rodgers,
2-4 after they lose.
2-4, right. But now there's a lot of wins on the schedule.
Now there's a lot of wins.
Okay.
They'll beat the Giants.
Uh-huh.
They'll beat the Chargers at home. They'll beat Vegas. They'll go to Buffalo and lose.
So they're 5-5.
Home for the Dolphins. It's a must win for them, 6-5. And I have them 6-6 here because I had them going 1-5 off the start. Home for Atlanta, they win. Home for Houston, they win.
8-5.
They'll lose at Miami.
8-6.
They beat Washington.
Mm-hmm.
They lose at Cleveland.
What? Okay. All right. So you have 9-7 and then beating the
At New
Patriots
England.
for 10-7.
Right.
Okay. I will say if you have them beating Cleveland, though, they go 11-6. That's a playoff.
Well, I had them 1-5 at that point. I had them
right. I understand. But we are pointing out the start is tough. Okay. And then there's a bunch of wins if they've got their act together. But so we'll see. Jets and Browns tonight. Hall of Fame game. Cleveland a 2.5-point favorite for you degenerates. You know who you are.
Time now for our our play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
Well, it was the game of the year for the Marlins and certainly one of the most important games of the year. They go down 5, then they're down 2 in the 10th. They even it up, and in the 11th, Jesus Sanchez, the hero.
0-1 pitch. Here's a swing and a blooper. Left field. Base hit. The Marlins win it in the bottom of the 12. They have done it. Down 5-0. They storm all the way back. A little magic in Miami on a Wednesday. Sanchez, the hero. Oh, my goodness. 24 one-run wins from Miami. Their 7th walk-off win of the season.
Marlins win. They play their last game of their 4-game series against the Phillies tonight. That'd be nice.
Today. Nooner.
Today.
The show's over. Get in the car.
Man.
Go.
No, I can't. I have work.
Whatever. Come on, this whole young, responsible adult act. You've done it for like 3 weeks now. Come on. You're just about at the end. You got a mighty Nooner coming off the win of the year.
Calling sick.
Exactly.
Good way to lose your job, but I recommend it for you.
Yeah, the problem is there's actually people there that listen to this show. 9-8 Marlins in 12. They were down 5-0 in the 6th, 5-2 in the 8th, 5-4 in the 9th, 7-5 in the 10th, 8-7 in the 11th. Yeah.
Those are the type of comebacks. You said it before. That may have saved their season, David.
Think about it. They would have lost 3 in a row to the Phillies. They would have staggered into the noon start today. Probably get drilled, get swept at home, put a fork in them. Instead, they're showing up doing cartwheels for the game at noon today.
And it's the Phillies that are walking into the game going, what the hell just happened last night? That's our play of the day. The Marlins with a 9-8 victory in 12 over the Phillies. They'll try to even the 4-game series with a win this afternoon at noon. Miller and Moulton. That's our play of the day. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So did you see Axe is returning to Billions?
Yeah. And I just canceled my Showtime.
Now, is it coming to Showtime? My mom said it was coming to
Is it Paramount?
Yeah.
Well, I get that.
But that's my mother I'm trusting here, so.
Oh. What are you trying to say?
She's almost 80. I don't know if she heard it correctly.
Hey, Mom, I love you. No offense. No offense. Yeah, Adam, it is concerning. We'll say it is an at-risk student school. Apparently, they're getting a new principal for this year.
Okay, that's probably what it is, Jeff. That's, again, I was trusting my mother, and that's something that I don't often do when it comes to technology.
No, Ambient, it's true.
It's 100% true, Ambient.
Yeah, it's true. The story got reported late last week. It's been followed up on. It's true. The school, I think, was opened 5 years ago. The test scores didn't start that way. But LeBron even commented about it. Said, I'm not going anywhere. We're still committed to this working, but there's no doubt it's not working the way we wanted it to.
No. It's the state test, Ambien. They can't pass the state math test for that grade level or whatever it is.
Right. Standardized testing. Florida's got it for like 2 grades, don't they? Standardized testing.
I don't even know anymore.
I hate standardized testing, by the way.
I did well on them.
Did you? Good for you. I hated them.
Like the SAT and the ACTs, I did well on those tests.
I had such a bad SAT experience. The second time I took it, I did fine. But God, the first time I took it, I don't know what it was. Got the worst headache of my life. Did poorly.
And I wish that's the one that in Michigan, everybody took the ACT. I killed the pre-SAT. Killed it. Had nearly a perfect score in math. And then they did the, ACT, which I had a nearly perfect score in that math too. But there was 4 subjects in the ACT.
Yeah, it was the SAT was just math and English, right? Right. And I was with you. I, crushed math and just tried to
hold my own, right?
Be above average in English.
I think they will, Zombie Slayer. We held hundreds of them, Frederick. I don't know if the afternoon show here did or not because I don't pay attention to anything they do. They very well may have after we were let go, but we did one monthly forever, Frederick.
Yeah, and we did it in our second act as well for about 2 years. No, I'm sure it was us, Frederick. Because hell, they...
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Easterling, Akron Beacon Journal, covers the Browns. They're playing tonight. Hall of Fame game, baby. Cleveland and the Jets. Browns a 2.5-point favorite. About 12 hours from now, a little after 8 o'clock on NBC.
If you're going to combo papers, I like the Akron Beacon Journal, by the way. That's it's a solid newspaper name.
The Seattle Post-Intelligencer.
Well, that's the top 5 name.
I think it's an online thing only now, but yeah. Beacon Journal, Post-Intelligencer. Yeah. There's others. And I'm sure people in the text line and the Twitch chat room will let us know of their, if we're going to go Miguel Angel Jimenez, if you're going to go 3 names, you just got to make them good.
No doubt. And we did get a text, David. As a lifelong Jets fan, I can say that Mark is not too far off on his predictions. 3-3 in the first 6 would be astounding. I still think they win 11 games and make noise in the playoffs, though.
Well, and I think Mark agrees, but I am holding to, if you get in the AFC, you can win it.
100%.
You will be a good team unless, I guess it's possible the AFC South champion could be a dog and, get in like Tampa Bay did last year. But,
But you and I think a lot more of Jacksonville for that to happen.
I think Jacksonville actually has a chance to go 12-5 and have a very high seeding in the AFC because also they play Buffalo, they play Cincinnati, they play Kansas City. I mean, they can do what the Titans did 2 years ago. Titans were the 1 seed because they beat all the other first-place teams. They won all the tiebreakers. Jacksonville can do the same thing, by the way. They host Cincinnati, they host Kansas City, they host San Francisco, they play Buffalo and London. They don't play a road game against any of those first-place teams. Can't get a better schedule than that. If you're going to have to play them, you're either playing them at home or you're home away from home. It's pretty good. Just saying. All right. Back to this college football thing for a second. You never answered if you were Notre Dame, what would you do?
ACC.
Okay, you would.
I would go to the ACC whether Florida State and Clemson leave or not. I think it would be better if I did it with them leaving. I like the idea of calling the ACC right now and saying, let them go. Let them go right now. You let them go and we join. And then your contract with ESPN gets ripped up. We're all going to make more money.
Do you know who Notre Dame's a problem for? ESPN. Because obviously ESPN would love to get their hands on Notre Dame in some way, shape, or form. Mark, if Notre Dame joins the ACC in our scenario, if you're ESPN, you're in a pickle here. See, the finances, you're a huge pickle because the finances that we talked about, you're spending $240 million right now. Forget the ACC network and what that costs. You're spending $240 million. That's a check you send to Charlotte. They divvy it up amongst their schools. Divided by 14, every school gets like $17 million directly from you. Then you got the ACC network and other deals. And that's how each school gets close to $30 million a year. But it's only 17 that comes directly from the ESPN television deal, which is very low. Well, ESPN can take that 240 as we've shown you before. They can cut that in half, take the 120, give it to the SEC, and have Florida State and Clemson join. Then they can get a full share. They can take the other 120 million. They can put it towards the Big 12. They own 2/3 of the rights to the Big 12. Fox owns the other third. And 4 ACC schools can go from the ACC to the Big 12. And by the way, you pick the 4. I mean, that's an interesting discussion in and of itself. If you're the Big 12, which 4 do you want? Okay, we'll get back to that. But you divide 120 by 4, what do you have? 30 million. Well, right now, what's a full share of the Big 12? 31.7. So ESPN can break up the ACC and put Florida State and Clemson in the SEC. They still televise their games. They can move 4 ACC teams, probably of their choosing, into the Big 12. They get to televise all their sports. ESPN's fine with this. Notre Dame decides they're going to be the savior for the ACC. ESPN's got a problem. Because now they're going to have to shell out more than $240 million a year to retain ACC rights. And they don't have any money for the other schools.
So what David just described, think about it. The Big 10 could end up with Florida State and Clemson. And then the ACC would get a new television deal of which all the networks would be able to bid on. And they would bid on Notre Dame.
Now, to me, what's interesting is would Notre Dame essentially, let's just say somehow, some way, ESPN gets out of the ACC business entirely. And because of the relationship that Notre Dame has with NBC and the fact that Notre Dame's next athletic director is currently an NBC TV executive, let's just say that NBC follows Notre Dame to whatever conference they go. Mark, will Notre Dame essentially have all 12 of their games nationally televised at 2:30 or 3:30 every week? Because think about this. Whatever conference it is, whether it's say Notre Dame goes to the Big East and Pitt, BC, Syracuse, Duke, Georgia Tech follow them from the ACC. UConn plays football, and all of a sudden they put together an 8-9 team football league that Notre Dame's ahead of. Well, right now, you know who owns the rights to the Big East? Fox. Well, let's just say because of football, the contract gets opened up and NBC can get involved. Well, Mark, basically, I mean, what game are you going to show at 2:30, 3 or 3:30 every Saturday?
Notre Dame.
Damn right. Home and away. It doesn't matter who they play. That's the game you're going to show. They'd get every one of their games nationally televised. How is that not the case if they join the ACC? Especially if Florida State and Clemson are leaving. What the hell game are you going to put on?
And I don't think Notre Dame would make the move to the ACC that I'm talking about if Florida State and Clemson remain.
No. Because if they're going to get beaten up, they might as well go to the Big Ten and make the most money.
Exactly.
But if Florida State and Clemson are going to leave, and the best program, and here's the other thing, the thought is that is Miami staying or going? But even if they stay, right now Notre Dame's a better program consistently. I know in 2017 they weren't, but consistently Notre Dame's better than Miami. Come on, Notre Dame's made the playoff 3 times. Miami's only made the ACC title game once. If you're Notre Dame, you're like, well, if Florida State and Clemson want to leave, we can beat North Carolina and Miami. We'll take on NC State. We're good. No, we're fine. We'll win this conference 7 out of 10 years minimum, maybe 9 out of 10. That'll get us an automatic spot in the playoff, by the way, which we're pretty interested in. Which is ultimately why Miller and Moulton don't think Notre Dame is going to the Big Ten. Because they need their football team in the playoff. And they can make the playoff as an independent. They can go 10-2. They could be a 7 seed.
And they'd host games.
Right. And they'd love that. But they'd love just sliding in as a 10 seed and playing on the road. They just want to be relevant. Got to stay relevant. Got to be in. What is it they need? They said they need 70 to 75 million a year. You know what they currently make from NBC? 22. That's what Notre Dame's after, which is why the Big Ten's been mentioned again, because what's every school in the Big Ten going to make beginning this year? 70 to 75 million. But if you're Notre Dame year in and year out in the Big Ten, how are you going to do?
You get to play Michigan. You get to play USC. That's great.
Yeah.
And by the way, rivalries with Purdue and Michigan State, and that's all well and good. But you're going to be more like Purdue and Michigan State than you are Michigan and USC.
And if you're Notre Dame and there's a rivalry or two that you still want to keep, it's very important to you. The two are Navy and USC. If you go to the ACC, you can keep those rivalries. You play whatever your schedule is, and then you make sure that your non-conference games include USC and Navy. You can keep those rivalries going. They're very important to Notre Dame. They're the two most important games on their schedule, USC and Navy.
So I think this whole next phase, and we think this whole next phase of realignment, Notre Dame's a critical part of it.
If you're Notre Dame, though, do you want to move sooner, or do you want to let what we talked about, let Florida State Clemson go? Let the upheaval start. Let the Pac-12 go under, essentially. Have the Big 12 fill up its membership. If Florida State and Clemson are leaving and they're going to the SEC, well, then 4 other schools are going to be leaving and going to the Big 12. And then do you pick up the phone and call the ACC and go, we're your golden ticket.
We're here to save you.
Yep. We get the first 100 million. You guys split the rest. What do you say?
Hell, even if it's the first 75 million, it puts you on par with everybody else.
Well, but even if it's 100 million, let's just say they're going to be greedy. And let's just say the TV deal would remain the same, which it won't. It'll go up. It's got Notre Dame in it. I mean, remember, they just signed a 10-year, $100 million deal with Under Armour. There's no school in college athletics that gets more for the insignia on the top left breast patch than Notre Dame does. But back to the $240 million. Let's just say Notre Dame's it's the first 100. So you have $140 million left. Okay, how many schools are we going to be divvying this up against? Wake, Duke, Pitt, Syracuse, BC, Georgetown. You know, let's just say there's 8 other schools. Divide 140 by 8. What do you get? You get about the same share they're getting now. Because they're only getting $17 million a year now from the check. And 17 times 8 is 136. They get $17.5 million being one of the other 8 schools in an ACC headlined by Notre Dame.
And the rest of those schools would almost have no choice but to agree, because if not, the conference might go away.
Never mind what we think is the $240 million a year would probably become at least $340 million a year. That's another $100 million to divide up with those 8 schools. Now, all of a sudden, they're making $30 million a year. They stayed in the ACC, and Notre Dame gets $100 million bucks. And everybody's happy. Florida State and Clemson went to the SEC. The 4 others got up and left, went to the Big 12. And the Big 10, when Notre Dame said no, they took, name the schools. Carolina and Miami, Carolina and Virginia.
But this started with the Pac-12 and Colorado leaving, and now we have Arizona State, and Utah on the brink. Florida State announcing yesterday that they're basically done with the ACC.
Well, one of their board members is, quote, okay, it's not if we leave the ACC, but where and when.
But even the president of Florida State said that they'll have to leave unless things change drastically. And bold statements by the president of the university yesterday.
And by change drastically, he said money. Specifically, they got to change how they do their revenue. We got to get ours. If we get ours, we'll stay. We don't care about everybody else.
And they only want about 25% of the entire pie. That's all.
No big deal. We'll stay. But you're going to have to pay.
That's where we're at right now. And the Arizona schools are with their Board of Regents meet again today.
Tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. The expectation is they're going to vote to officially leave the Pac-12 tonight. Members 14 and 15. So then the only question is the invitation still there for Utah, and do they accept? Or does the Big 12 turn their attention to UConn or Memphis?
Greg Swaim, who tackles conference realignment, will join us in about 40 minutes' time. He was on the show earlier this week and announced most of these things happening a little quicker than they happened, but the information's not been off. The days in which it said's been off slightly and only slightly.
Right. He said Florida State would announce they're leaving the ACC on Wednesday. Well, one of their board members did. It's not official, but it's basically official.
And what is the rest of the ACC doing? They're letting Florida State be the villains right now, but they're watching very intently to see how this goes for the Seminoles and how many schools will join Florida State in this upheaval.
By the way, big difference if you're Miami, Big 10 and Big 12. I mean, we're only talking about $40 million a year. It's no big deal or anything. Just saying. So, Miami's not getting talked about a whole lot here, but Florida State's acting as if they're going to be okay. Florida State's acting like, oh, we know we've got a home. We're going to be fine. Don't worry about us. Does Miami know if they have a home? And if so, which one? Very different neighborhoods, by the way, Big 10, Big 12. Very different. One, middle class, maybe even upper middle class. The other, Bel Air.
And the folks in Coral Gables would much rather be in Bel Air, but it's not necessarily their decision. Chris Easterling covers the Browns for the Akron Beacon Journal. They play tonight, the Hall of Fame game. Football, helmets, pads, a line, over-unders, all of it's available. We'll talk to him and get a Browns preview on the other side, right here, Miller and Moulton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Good news is we're only 5 goals away from having Messi's top 10 goals in the MLS as a top 10.
Well, he can fill up half of it already. He's
Right.
played three matches.
By the way, get ready because Messi, Luka Doncic in these FIBA games is about to look like Messi in these Inter Miami games.
Hey, we don't know though. Luka off season, I mean, he could have gained 20 pounds. I mean,
In what games?
FIBA, there's the FIBA World Cup.
Oh, well, gosh, let's get excited.
You know what I don't understand about this? We keep winning the gold in the Olympics. Why do we have to keep qualifying for the Olympics?
Every country has to qualify.
No, I understand that. But if you win the gold, shouldn't that get you in the next one? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that's an outrageous, reward for winning the gold. In all team sports, by the way. I don't care if it's equestrian. Yeah, don't care. If you win the gold, I think you should be already in the next one. I don't know why we have to keep fielding the damn because we got a bunch of guys who are like, come on, really? I got to play this 2-year process to qualify for the Olympics? I don't want to play.
Who's got it? Do you have a TV? Is the TV on in the background there?
I got to turn the volume down. Chris is on hold. Sounds like he just rolled out of bed.
Probably.
Yeah. "15 seconds.
Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits in the 239 1 hour from now. A reminder, go to floridasportsnetwork.com, sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit. It's 12 nights away, Tuesday the 15th. Dinner and Dr. Roto. Get ready for your fantasy draft and your fantasy football league on us. floridasportsnetwork.com, presented by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Chris Easterling is kind enough to join us. He covers the Browns for the Akron Beacon Journal. Follow Chris on Twitter, the letter C, Easterling ABJ. C, Easterling ABJ. Chris, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Doing fine, fellas. How you guys doing?
Well, we are doing well. Listen, just throw one in underhanded to start. How different is it this year at this time versus last year at this time? Because we all know what was going on last year at this time with that Deshaun Watson guy.
It's night and day. It really is. It was refreshing to have a normal summer and off season. I guess you don't normally get those around Cleveland with the Browns, but it was nice to have a normal one of those. And it's been kind of refreshing. It's been, you feel like you always have to put the disclaimer out there when you talk about it. You don't want to diminish the allegations that were against Deshaun and anything like that. But at the same time, it's been nice that it's just been about football, with training camp. And that wasn't the case last year. A year ago this time, the suspension had just been announced, and the NFL had just come right back with, well, we're appealing this. So the specter loomed even longer than, I think anybody expected. It lasted really all of training camp. This year, the focus has been on the football team and a team I think has a chance to, if things break right, be a pretty good football team. But, it starts with Deshaun Watson, the quarterback. And that's, we'll have to see when the games actually start, if we actually see the Deshaun Watson that I think the Browns hope they traded for a year ago.
Well, obviously missing the year and then all the suspended games. What does the quarterback look like? Notwithstanding all the other stuff, because not that we don't care, but let's focus on football. What is the quarterback? How much different does he look as a quarterback than he did at this time a year ago?
Holy cow, it's amazing. He looks sharp. He looks I think as much as, the physical things of, the way he's throwing the football, the touch he's throwing, the tight windows he's getting the ball to, going back all the way to OTAs. It's just the way he's carrying himself. There's a confidence, like, this is now my team. A year ago with all the uncertainty and everything, and the fact they knew Jacoby Brissett was going to start, however many games he was out, I don't think he had that ability to establish himself as the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. He is clearly the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. He is clearly in charge of the offense. When you watch him on the field, there's a confidence that I think we come to expect from not just Deshaun Watson, but any starting quarterback in the NFL. He's showing that, and interactions with fans. I mean, he's much more engaging and all of that. It's just, again, it goes back to the previous answer. It's night and day from where it was a year ago. And if you're the Browns, you have to be confident that if you carry that forward, then this trade will pay off for you.
Well, there's no doubt if he can play up to his salary, if he's a $46 million quarterback, then the Browns should be a very dangerous team. He's Chris Easterling. He covers the Browns for the Akron Beacon Journal. Follow Chris on Twitter, the letter C, Easterling, ABJ. C, Easterling, ABJ. Chris, here's my big beef with the Browns. It's 2 years running. They've had cap room, and they haven't been able to stop the run. And they seemingly have not gone out and gotten the guys to put in the middle of their defensive line to stop the run. Do they realize the division they're playing in? The Ravens are the best rushing attack in the league. The Bengals, when they need to, I mean, they shoved it right down Buffalo's throat in the playoff game. And we know Pittsburgh wants to shove it down your throat first and throw second. How come the Browns have not addressed the run defense?
Well, I think they feel like they did. They went out and addressed. I thought the defensive line was the first place they went during free agency. They went out, they signed Dalvin Tomlinson. They go out, they bring in, they draft Siaki Ikina. I'm sure I butchered that but you know, they've addressed. I think they have tried. They feel like they have tried to address that clear weakness last year. I mean, it was an obvious weakness. I mean, it cost them a couple of games. It was the main cost of at least 2 games, and probably more. But they feel like with those acquisitions, with going to get Jim Schwartz as defensive coordinator, they feel like they are making moves to address that. Now we'll see. I mean, I don't know if they've done enough. There's still talk of bringing in another defensive tackle during camp because I don't look at their defensive tackle spot and say it's completely fixed. But I do think they have addressed it. Now they're never going to address like linebacker. That's just not of all the positions on the field. That's one that neither the front office nor do I think Jim Schwartz prioritizes as a position where you need to invest heavily. That's not saying I don't think it's important. It doesn't make plays, but they don't see it as the same way they look at edge rusher or cornerback or even safety, which is another spot they invested heavily in. But I mean, we will see if the investments they made pay off, because I do think the defensive tackle position is better than it was last year when it was the worst defensive tackle group in the NFL.
What then is the weakest position group in your estimation? Heading into the season, where's the hole that you're most concerned with this team? Because obviously this is a really good division in which anybody could finish, well, I don't know about first, but I think anybody can finish second in this division. Where do you see the Browns' weak link?
I'll go back to a position I just said the front office and Jim Schwartz don't necessarily care about. The linebacker position, to me, they basically, a year ago, they were just decimated by injury at that spot. And they basically just ran everybody back and kind of looked at it and said, we feel like we have guys at the linebacker spot to make plays. Their problem was, one, they were hurt, and two, they were constantly having blockers on them because the defensive line was so bad last year. But I still think there's a lot of questions around that linebacker group, because I look at the other spots of I don't have a question on running back. They got Nick Chubb. Deshaun Watson has looked much better. The offensive line is one of the best in the league. Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. I go on the cornerback, the secondary. I feel confident about. It's just really that linebacker spot where I know they don't value it the way maybe some people do, but I still think it's still very light, and I don't like I don't like the lack of depth that they have and the reliance they have on a lot of guys who are coming back off of injury.
By the way, who's backing up Chubb? I mean, they went from having the deepest tailback room in the league with Hunt and D'Ernest Johnson, and now it's just Chubb. Who's his backup?
Jerome Ford. They really like that. A second-year kid out of University of Cincinnati. They drafted him last year. Last year, he was primarily their kickoff return guy. They like him. They like his potential. He kind of really flashed last preseason. Then they never really used him running the ball because they had Kareem. I mean, they didn't even hardly use D'Ernest last year running the ball. So Jerome Ford is right now number 2, and I think they feel good about him. But that if there was another position where I feel like by the end of camp, on that day after touchdown day, when when there's waiver claims made, that they add somebody to the room. I think running back, finding an RB3, so to speak, is high up on the list, because I agree with you. I mean, they've been lucky that Nick Chubb the last couple of years has been, remained healthy and been able to play. But, there have been injury concerns with Nick, previously. And, you lose Nick Chubb, and that's a critical piece of their offense.
Chris, thanks for your time and your insight, particularly at this hour. Get a home game tonight. You don't get many of those. Take a nap if you can. Enjoy the game, and hopefully we can talk again before opening day.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Chris Easterling, he covers the Browns for the Akron Beacon Journal. Follow him on Twitter, the letter C, Easterling, Easter, L-I-N-G, and then ABJ for Akron Beacon Journal. C, Easterling, ABJ. Chris Easterling joining us here. Miller and Moulton Hall of Fame game tonight. Browns a 2.5-point favorite against the Jets. Nobody really expected to play.
Browns get right after it with their schedule, by the way. 3 of their first 4 games are division games, David. They open with Cincinnati. They travel to Pittsburgh. They host Tennessee, and they host Baltimore before their Week 5 bye.
I look at Ndamukong Suh. I look at Anthony Barr. I look at inside linebacker Ben Jones. I look at guys like that, and if I'm Cleveland, I've got money. Never mind at the running back. I mean, forget the whole Dalvin Cook thing. Kareem Hunt's still available. So's Zeke. So's Leonard Fournette. I mean, come on. They went from having 3 solid, dependable running backs, and now they're Nick Chubb and fingers crossed. I mean, this team could be good. It really could be. If Dalvin Tomlinson starts 17 games, he's a good player. But their interior run defense, which includes their linebacking core, and now it's Nick Chubb and nobody else. And are we sure Deshaun Watson's ever going to be Deshaun Watson again?
Well, and think about it, David. You're just mentioning the schedule. They're going to play Cincinnati Week 1, who you talked about, not afraid to run the ball if they have to. Pittsburgh will run the ball. What does Tennessee do? They run the football. What does Baltimore do? They run the football. Oh, yeah, after the bye, they host the San Francisco 49ers. What do they like to do?
I know Sue doesn't want to play a full season and all that, and probably wants to see if they're going to be any good before he signs with them, but I don't know. I think I got to do a little bit more in the middle of my defense if I'm Cleveland. Greg Swaim to talk conference realignment coming up in about 25 minutes' time. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Right now, would you rather have Kareem Hunt or Zeke?
Kareem Hunt.
I agree.
What?
Would you rather have Kareem Hunt or Zeke right now?
Zeke.
You like his blocking, right?
I think he's more dependable. Kareem has, I think, a higher ceiling at this point, but Kareem also gets in trouble off the field. He can't block for crap. Zeke's, I think, the guy in which for, kind of like we talk about backup quarterbacks, can he come in and go 2-1? I think Zeke, if you tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, so-and-so's got a sprained ankle, he's going to miss 3-4 games. We're going to have to ride you pretty hard. Okay? You ready? Can you give us a month? Just like old times? 20 carries a game, 60 snaps, And I think Zeke would be like, yeah, I can give you. I look at Zeke the way, remember O.J. Anderson?
Yep.
He had a second win with the Giants in which he backed up Rodney Harrison. And that's kind of how I look at Zeke at this stage of his career.
Adam, I only buy my toilet paper at Costco. Sorry. And it's on sale this month.
Toilet paper and paper towels. Costco.
Buy most everything at Costco. All of my meat. That's where the freezer saver bags or the vacuum seal machine comes in handy. I don't do Kirkland. I do the Charmin. I don't do Kirkland toilet paper. Come on now. Are you Charmin too? Or is that not you? I'd feel badly if I don't buy your toilet paper, but it's not my area and I don't have a choice in this because we're not switching.
Now, could you get it in the house, rip it out of the packaging, and just stack it and have her not know the difference?
No.
Oh, okay. Because
Charmin, the way it touches your tush.
Really?
Yes.
Good toilet paper is very important.
No, I understand the difference between good toilet paper and bad toilet paper. It's just that, there is more than just one good brand of toilet paper.
There?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
I think you're wrong here.
I don't know that I know the names of them off the top of my head, though. Like Charmin is the one that
it's
I
it.
know.
Right.
Yeah, it's the Band-Aid of bandages.
We're going to make this a poll question now? Okay, best toilet paper?
Or just right now, name another toilet paper brand that's not Charmin.
Stay Soft.
They don't do quilted northern at Costco. Or do they? Angel Soft is not as good as northern or
By the way, can I say Publix?
Oh my god!
Woo!
The worst ones are the Scott. Those are terrible. The ones it's like it's so much toilet paper, but it's terrible toilet paper.
Thank you, Spitz. That's a good question.
I got to put the other poll question up.
What was that?
What conference is Florida State going to be in 2025?
Nice. I say the ACC.
What about 2026?
See, if you're changing it, that's a different story. But I just think the divorce could take a while. That's all. I mean, if I'm Florida State, I don't want to leave until the ACC goes under. I don't want to be involved in a, grant of rights lawsuit. I could lose it. I could lose $500 million. Not interested in that.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour." Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show? You can always go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download what you missed. While there, sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit. Tuesday night, the 15th, Fort Myers, Bell Tower Shops. Shula Show Sports Cafe, presented by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dinner and Dr. Roto. Take that information, have a great fantasy draft, and then, well, keep that information handy when you're making out your lineups every week, and you should do pretty well. He's one of the top 20 fantasy players in the country. For those that do it, talk about it for a living. It's been documented over the years. So we're trying to help out as best we can. And we'll also have the good doctor on regularly throughout the year. Greg Swaim to talk conference realignment, Mark, in a little more than 15 minutes. Listen, you came up with the poll question like over 2 hours ago. Where is it?
Sitting right here on X, about ready to be X'd out.
Okay.
Is that what we're doing now? We're Xing it, or are we still tweeting it? I'm
You know,
so
it's
confused.
funny because when you DM someone on Twitter, you say X so-and-so sent you a tweet. So the word tweet is still being thrown out there on the app known as X.
So on
This
the
is so
app known as
stupid.
X, formerly Twitter, what conference will Florida State be in by 2025? I gave 4 choices, although the Big 12 shouldn't probably be on there. ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC. Should I just remove the Big 12?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
There it is. It's up. It's posted. FloridaSportsNetwork.com, about to be retweeted by that Mark Miller and whenever David gets around to it.
By the way, I'm voting ACC. I think this divorce is going to take a little while. You know, there's kids involved. A lot of property to, separate ourselves from. And the one side thinks they have a prenup and the other side doesn't want to abide by it. So I just think it's going to take a little while. That's all.
David, the one side doesn't think it has a prenup. It thinks it has an ironclad prenup.
Right. Costner thought he had that too. He just went to court and lost. Okay. That's all I'm saying. One side thinks they have a prenup. The other side's like, we can fight this. Absolutely. Call Michael F. Hornung. Call Morgan and Morgan. We can fight this. Sure. Although don't call Morgan and Morgan. He's a Gator. Okay. Call Hornung.
So what conference is Florida State going to be in 2025? I want you to be wrong. I think you're right. And I desperately want you to be wrong.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to stick with that answer very long. Like if the question was 2026, I think I'd have SEC as my answer. But let me ask you this. Do you think Florida State has any leverage? Do you think the Big Ten is viable for Florida State and Clemson in any way? Because they need that to get the SEC and ESPN to go, well, we can't let them go there.
David, I'm convinced that they do. And I don't know if maybe I've talked myself into this in the last 48 hours. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think university presidents have anything to do with conference expansion. I think television networks do. And what would be a major coup for Fox and the Big Ten would be to steal away 2 properties from ESPN that are valuable to ESPN. Florida State and Clemson are still valuable properties to ESPN.
They are. They move the needle. I mean, we're not talking Alabama, Ohio State here. We're not talking Notre Dame, but, there's only about 10 programs in the country that move the needle even a little bit. Those
And
two do.
Both of these do. And that has been lingering in my head that, the USC moves the needle. There's no doubt. UCLA doesn't move the needle. They've never moved the needle in college football, ever.
No.
So that was just someone to come along with USC. That's all that really was.
Correct. Well, just like Texas had to have Oklahoma. I mean, they brought Oklahoma with them. If Oklahoma had to go to the SEC on their own, they would have had a much harder time. Do they move the needle? Yes. Texas? They don't move it like Texas. Even though they've been more successful, they don't move it like Texas.
So the fact that Florida State and Clemson are dealing with television networks, not university president, leads me to believe that there's some there with the Big Ten. And David, I don't think they make the move they're making without having talked to the Big Ten and getting some sort of at least friendly wink nod that the Big Ten's interested. And I don't think the Big Ten publicly would have made any announcements that they were vetting Clemson and Florida State because, one, the presidents wouldn't, but Fox Sports would. And they're calling the shots.
And remember, it's much easier for the Big Ten to add teams in this respect. They've got 3 places to go and get income from: Fox, CBS, and NBC. SEC, ACC, they got one media partner. It's ESPN. Remember yesterday we were talking a little bit about the business of ESPN and everybody's, talking about their gloom and doom. And I said, I'm telling you, ESPN's still making money. They're still making serious money. It's just that they were making unbelievably serious money 2 and 3 years ago. Did you see what ESPN reported yesterday? In the first 6-7 months of this year, they made $3 billion. That's not the revenue they created. That was their profit. I mean, they're making $500 million a month still.
Now, when Disney's forced to sell them and whatever company takes on all the debt that's incurred from buying ESPN, they may not be as profitable as they are for the Disney brand.
Correct. I mean, ESPN 5 years ago was guesstimated at, if it went on the open market, you'd have to pay $50 billion to get it. My guess is that number's in half. But still, I mean, you shell out $25 billion, it's just interest adds up pretty quickly.
That ROI seems to be important at that point.
Right. Can we spread this out over 30 years? Yeah, you owe about $1 billion a year for 30 years. We break that down by month. It's about 85 million a month to go. So I digress. But
RCB asks a question in our Twitch chat room, David. Wouldn't Miami give them better ratings than Clemson?
Maybe. But Clemson's good. And Miami's not.
And Miami's not at all being rumored to join the SEC. I think there's a power play going on. If this is happening, part of it to me is happening because Fox would be stealing 2 ESPN properties away. That to me is everything here.
It's also an interesting dynamic. I mean, if you're the SEC, do you want the quote-unquote big 3 in Florida? Or, we only need 2. If you know what I mean. You got the 2 Mississippis. You got the 2 Texas schools. You got then the 2 Florida schools. And then you'd have the 2 Alabama schools. You'd have the 2 South Carolina schools. You'd have the 2 Tennessee schools, even though the other ones, insert joke here. When Miami's good, yes, Miami produces better ratings than Clemson. But Clemson's produced numbers now for almost 10 years. Miami produced numbers for 4 weeks in 2017. That's about it, really. Miami's a damaged brand that could be back very quickly. Florida State a year ago at this time was a damaged brand.
We'll continue this conference realignment discussion. Greg Swaim will join us next on Miller and Moulton, right here, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost, a team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So you guys named your football building after Izzo?
Huh? The Duffy Doherty building?
I guess they have a new building.
Okay.
Michigan State named its foot. Maybe first look at the Michigan State Tom Izzo football building. Huh. I don't think it's a joke either.
God, I just social media picture of Pee Wee Herman, Rodney Dangerfield, and David Lee Roth together. I've been watching some of the Pee Wee Herman interviews, like on Letterman. My goodness.
Greg's on hold. I don't know where this is from, but I saw a clip from, I guess, a movie that Pee Wee Herman is in, where he wakes up from a desert and a bunch of cowboys are like, "You all right?" And he's like, "I don't remember who I am or where I are or where I am or whatever." Then he goes, "But I do remember the Alamo." And then they all go crazy and then it just ends. Thought that was funny. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up. Our final segment along the network in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Make sure you go floridasportsnetwork.com, vote in our poll question, download any part of the show that you missed, and also sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit, dinner and Dr. Roto, Tuesday night the 15th. Can't beat it. You'll win your fantasy league. Greg Swaim hosts the Greg Swaim Show, and you can follow him on Twitter at the letter G Swaim, S-W-A-I-M, S-W-A-I-M. Greg, thanks for doing this again. And listen,
crazy days.
Well, you basically it's the I's and T's are not dotted and crossed, but what you said on this show 2 days ago has unfolded. Arizona and Arizona State are joining the Big 12. That's going to officially happen tonight. And you said Florida State was going to have an announcement of some kind on Wednesday that basically they're leaving the ACC. And, well, a couple of board members announced that, and the president all but announced that. But you sent out a tweet last night that I have to ask you about. You said, "Hey, SEC, welcome to the conference realignment party." What were you alluding to?
They're getting some teams too. What happened? It's like the Big Ten and the SEC sitting back in the weeds, being quiet. They're predators too. They just don't want anybody to know it, right? So, but they don't want to be left out. So they're sitting back there, and then all of a sudden, what's going on the West Coast with the Big 12 taking teams? And now all of a sudden, you got the ACC blowing up. Nobody thought it would. We certainly talked about it a lot and thought Florida State could get it done. They're going to do it multiple ways legally, but that's the dam busting right there. Because the SEC goes, wait, if the ACC is going to blow up, we want some ACC teams too. We don't want the Big Ten just taking what they want and the Big 12 getting the rest. So the SEC jumped in the other day, and believe it or not, they may be poaching the Big 12, and they can because they make a lot more money. So there was talk late last night that
Kansas and Oklahoma State, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to get crazy, but then a rumor came up that I've been hearing about for a long, long time, and we're going to be on this story for a while. A&M to the Big Ten. A&M, tried to escape Texas with the SEC, and then the SEC let Texas in without really consulting with A&M. Certainly A&M didn't want them in there. So now A&M can go anywhere they want, and they may be going to the Big Ten. So it's, and of course the Big Ten may be poaching the Northwest, the two California teams in the Pac-12. I mean, you couldn't make this up. If I came out and reported everything I hear, you'd lock me up. The Florida State deal, we talked about in April, right? So it wasn't new to us because we've been hearing it. But for it to actually happen is another thing. And I'm just, man, I'm going to have another cup of coffee just to get going today. This is, it's going to be a crazy day, isn't it?
There's no doubt. And there are two schools that we've talked about and how they affect, and one of them bigger than others. Where does Notre Dame and how does Notre Dame fit into all this in your estimation, Greg?
Well, obviously, Notre Dame's coveted by everybody that could covet them, even the Big 12. That's not going to happen. I think they'll always be in the Big 10, because it makes sense. They played Michigan, Purdue. Who else they play? Michigan State. They played those guys for a million years. And then you bring in SC and UCLA and teams they play in the Rose Bowl and stuff like that. So some familiarity. I'm already messing up my words, say too much coffee, I guess. But it is, there's just too many dynamics going on. It's a very, very fluid situation. And everybody's starting to panic, even the SEC a little bit.
GregSwaim.com, SWAIM.com, GregSwaim.com. Also, other social media outlets. Follow him on Twitter, the letter G, Swaim, SWAIM. Okay, here's a scenario that we threw out there a couple months ago. Is there any merit to this? Notre Dame lets all the schools that want to leave the ACC leave. Say Florida State and Clemson go to the SEC. Say 4 other schools go to the Big 12. And say the Big 10 gets the 2 schools that they really want, whether it's Carolina, Miami, or Carolina and Virginia. Notre Dame calls up the ACC, or the ACC calls up Notre Dame and says, listen, we'll give you the first $100 million. Join our conference. By the way, the conference will then be made up of Wake, Duke, Pitt, Syracuse, BC, Georgia Tech, probably UConn, and you. Okay. And you get the first $100 million. You're looking for 75. We'll give you 100.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I think Notre Dame, though, because of who they are, wants a bigger time, opponent day in and day out. So I don't know. The exposure would be good. The money would be good, obviously. It's an interesting scenario. I really think when all is said and done, though, Notre Dame's going to have to drop being independent to get where they want to be, both monetarily and in the playoffs. So I don't see that, but gosh, with so many things are happening that, we couldn't have foreseen 4 or 5 months ago, I wouldn't put anything out of reach.
What about the Miami Hurricanes? I mean, that's a pretty big brand. When they're on, they move the needle. Even when they're slightly on, they move the needle. Where are they going to end up? Or are they destined for the Big 12?
See, the Big 12, I keep hearing things on that, but just does not make sense to me. I mean, it makes sense that the Big 12 would want them. I just don't see Miami doing that. Of course, Miami just got their ACC accreditation, which obviously opens up the Big 10. Depends on how big we get. I mean, are we going to have 20-team super conferences or 24? If we get to 24, obviously with 3 or 4 conferences, that adds up. And there's going to be people left out, obviously. Man, I feel bad for, teams like Washington State and Oregon State, because we always hear the Pac-12 teams are not as passionate, but I think those two fan bases are pretty good. And hate to see them go to the Mountain West. Would hate to see, some of these teams in the ACC that get left out, and I mean left out, they'll go G5 too. So it's a tough situation, but once again, it is all about money and TV.
Is there enough TV money though for all these teams? I mean,
not anymore.
Well, that's right. I mean, let's face it. The Big Ten just got Fox, CBS, and NBC to all shell out more than $300 million a year. I mean, I'm telling you, I know that, we all know the numbers pretty well. You can't pay your bills when you're shelling out over $300 million a year. That's a loser financially, but you're using it to promote the NFL and the rest of your network. At best, that's a break even. How in the world are they going to shell out more money for any more teams? Like, it makes sense to us.
Remember when MLB had that deal though? MLB was paying everybody too much, and the TV dollars went down, and they had to cut back, and they'll tighten their belt when they have to. But I think the next go around, the money situation, is going to be a little closer to even. Let's say we have 3 conferences, possibly 4 power conferences. The ACC survives. I just don't see the money situation being as good for the SEC and the Big Ten, around next time. And so I think if everything happens the way it should, we're just waiting for the Notre Dame shoe to fall. And of course, you mentioned the Irish. They're kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
So today the Big 12 goes away. I'm sorry, the Pac-12 kind of goes away. Will they go for more members to try to keep the name of that conference, or do you see the Pac, whatever's left, dissolving, or do you see the Pac-10, 8, 9, 11, whatever the hell it is? Do you see that conference remaining by raiding the Mountain West, or does the conference go away?
I think the Mountain West picks up Oregon State and Washington State, and that may be all that's left when this is done. Because I think the Big 12 will end up getting 4 with Utah later on. If not, they may go after UConn. Brett Yormark really likes UConn. And I'm a basketball guy originally, so that wouldn't hurt my feelings either, both the men's and the women's team. But, of course, their football's awful. But then again, you know what? Baylor came in the Big 12, and I don't think they won a football game in the conference for 3 years. And I know their basketball team went 0-18 in conference, so their first year. So once, a UConn or somebody starts getting that money, I mean, they could be pretty good in football too eventually.
Your gut feeling based on the information that you have today, if we made you fill out these 2 answers, Florida State ends up where, Miami ends up where?
I think you'll see Florida State in the SEC, even though it's a little less money, that's where they want to go. Don't you think? I mean,
yes.
All my Florida State guys, I've always felt like they'd be happy with the Big Ten, but they want the SEC.
Yes.
Is that kind of what you guys hear out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the Canes?
So I think when all said and done, they're in the SEC because it's more of a natural fit. And I think they kind of like pissing off Florida because they know Florida won't like it.
No. Do you mean about Florida State or Miami?
If Florida State or Miami got in, I don't think Florida's going to like that too much.
Well, but once they did what they did with Texas to Texas A&M, and Florida and South Carolina voted for it, South Carolina now can't stop Clemson, and Florida can't stop Florida State or Miami. Quickly, what's your info tell you about Miami? Does Miami want the Big Ten or do they want the SEC?
Well, I think their academic people are really pushing for the Big Ten. But, football people probably want to be in the SEC. I think when all is said and done, I think FSU's in the SEC. I think Miami's the Big Ten. And I think the ACC accreditation, the timing of that was just really suspect, wasn't it? Them and Notre Dame both. I think you get Miami and Notre Dame both in the Big Ten. When all is said and done, but once again, it's going to come down to, maybe they need finances, so they lean towards the Big Ten. Maybe they don't need finances, so they go to the SEC. The thing about Miami is we know they got right on top of the NIL deal. They'll be fine whichever one they go to.
He's Greg Swaim, host of the Swaim Show, SWAIM. GregSwaim.com is one of the ways you can listen to the show. It's noon Eastern, 11 Central. Follow him on Twitter, the letter G, Swaim, SWAIM. Greg, thanks for doing this. We know you're not getting a lot of sleep, so we appreciate you getting up early for us.
I'll sleep when I'm dead, right?
Thank you, Greg.
Greg.
Hey, you guys have a great.
3 months ago, he did predict much of this, whether we were paying attention or not. You go back April, May, he was all over all of this. His information's good. He has clients with the NCAA at different levels, junior college, NAIA. It's why he talks to more people. He's talking to people who are working for conferences, not just schools. And yes, he mentioned some of the wild rumors that are out there. A&M is so angry and they hate Texas so much that if there was a way for them to go to the Big Ten, they would.
That's got to honk off everybody in the SEC. Just on the surface, they think so much of themselves, and they've worked so hard to become the #1 football conference. For someone inside the conference walls to say, we'd leave to go to the Big Ten. And no matter what the reason. Maybe Johnny Manziel wants to name his barge something different.
But we've talked about this too. Missouri would leave for the Big Ten, even if the money's more in the Big Ten right now than the SEC. But let's just say it was reverse by $10 million. We both believe Missouri would prefer to be in the Big Ten than the SEC. They just took the best deal they had at the time.
And you wonder if the Big Ten and the SEC would ever discuss things like this as conference realignment goes.
Man. Imagine that. Texas A&M leaving the SEC for the Big Ten. Why? Because we hate Texas so damn much and those blankety blanks stabbed us in the back. That's outstanding. That's a reality TV show. It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call. Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller & Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller & Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. There's part of me that wants Florida State in the Big Ten, David.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see the security guard dive at the Dodgers game? Have you seen that clip yet?
No.
Security guard sitting along the baseline. A liner comes and he scales the wall with the chair in 0.2 seconds.
He's got a helmet on too. He's being super dramatic about that, honestly.
It's a big move.
Yeah, calm down, big guy.
Saw that earlier this morning. That's something.
Would it have hit him if he didn't move?
No.
Gotta, be cool. Try to barehand it or something.
No, I like him in different conferences, Adam.
You are listening listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of the Diamond District bonus hour on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Brought to you by Todd and Jason, the good folks at the Diamond District. Located just off 41 there. Very easy to get to. Can't miss the building. Heck, one of them could be out fishing in the pond even. They've done that in their commercials. One of them, the other one's in the store. But, the other one could be fishing. Where are you going? Out fishing.
The other one could be ponied up at a sports bar making a wager or two on a game.
Got that right. We've liked them for a long time, and there were immediate reasons why. Todd and Jason, the good folks at the Diamond District, sponsor of the bonus hour, Miller and Moulton. So, all right, we've talked a lot about conference realignment. Can I just a couple of generic things just want to throw out there? Miami fan, where do you think they want to be? Like, we agree with Greg Swaim. We think Florida State fan, if they're moving, okay, even though the Big Ten's $15 million more a year, they want the SEC.
And just on that one, Florida State fan, can I talk to you just for a second? Just us.
Okay.
Now, we know how much you despise the University of Florida.
Yep.
And what would piss off Florida more than anything? I know going to the SEC you think would piss them off, and it would. But if you go to the Big Ten and still play them, you're making more money than they are, and you could beat them on the field. You'd win twice. Isn't that what you really want? Don't you want to dominate in all aspects of this? Or do you just want to join the SEC and be with Florida? Hey, we're in a conference with Florida. Or do you want to stand out on your own and make a little bit more money? And instead of them, raising their nose in the air as they walk by and point down to you, wouldn't you like to be the one doing the pointing? I'm a Big Ten guy at heart. We'll take you.
Well, I do find it interesting, the possibilities. I mean, let's face it. You grabbed USC and UCLA. Once you make that move as the Big Ten, what move isn't possible? Honestly.
Thank you. We got a text, David, during that interview. This guy doesn't understand.
No,
Oregon and Washington would make much more sense because they would be West Coast travel partners. Can I just explain something to that gentleman just quickly? Seattle and LA are 1,137 miles apart from one another. I'm pretty sure that's the distance between Tallahassee and Ann Arbor. And the Big Ten can get Oregon and Washington whenever they want. Whenever. They're right there for the picking. They're begging to come to your conference. You don't need to take the beggars. Because I don't think they enhance your conference one bit. Phil Knight's money does, but nothing about Oregon and Washington enhance your conference. They bring nothing to the table that you don't already have. Florida State and Clemson? You sure? Are you sure?
Just how angry is Texas A&M? Remember, they were pretty spitting mad angry 3 years ago, SEC media days. They were not happy. Think about it if you're the Big Ten. You've got your nice footprint there, all those households. We'll say it again. The Big Ten's media rights are more money than the SEC's. We know the Big Ten doesn't win championships. We know they've won one football championship in 20 years. We know they haven't won a basketball championship in 23 years. We know that. But the television executives look at the Big Ten and they foam at the damn mouth. Because that's coast to coast. That's alumni who have gotten up and left and moved all over the country. And they're educated and they got income and they watch their teams. It's important to them. Well, now they're in California. Well, what are the big three states in college football? California, Texas, and Florida. I mean, You could make the case. If you were in the room, at first somebody would laugh at you and mock you. But if you were in the room with the Big Ten, wouldn't you say, listen, if we're only going to add 2 more teams, shouldn't we add Florida State and Texas A&M? Now, if you want to get each school a travel partner or what have you, whatever. But honestly, I mean, Florida State's not married to Clemson. They don't care. They're willing to go along with them, but they ain't married to Clemson. They're married to Florida State. And Texas A&M, God knows, they're willing to do it alone. They look like the second most independent school in the country next to Notre Dame. I mean, honestly, you're the Big Ten. You could have 2 teams, Oregon, Washington, A&M, or Florida State. Who would you take?
A&M and Florida State.
Florida State would make $45 million more a year than they are right now. A&M would make $15 million a year more than they are right now. And yeah, bring up travel costs for all your games. Yeah, I have a feeling the extra money, it'll be just fine. A&M doesn't care. A&M will travel to Columbus, Ohio, okay, and they'll do horns down. They'll turn to the camera and do horns down. Okay, that'll be their thing. That's how much they'll be happy to be doing it. I mean, trust me, it's a grudge that Miller and Moulton can really appreciate. We hate them so much that we don't want a school in the conference within 1,000 flipping miles of us. That's how much we hate them. In fact, if I can I get out before we're scheduled to play them in 2024? That's how much we hate them. I don't even want to play them one time, even though the game's at Kyle Field.
The only thing that would make A&M happier is to get Clemson and Florida State in the SEC and then leave to piss off Florida and South Carolina.
Exactly. You guys screwed us. Now we're sticking it to you.
On our way out the door.
Bye-bye. So we'll see how crazy this gets. I am interested about Miami. Also, quite frankly, is Florida State right now just full of bluster? Because they're acting like they've got a deal. They're acting like they've got a deal done in the drawer. And Mark, you've done business deals before. I mean, there were times, I'm sure, in which you probably did a deal with a company, put it in the drawer, and then you had to go meet with the company that you're going to say no to because of the deal you just made. And you're going to have to go through the lunch and pretend as if this is a real negotiation. And you get in your car afterwards and you go, man, I'm really going to miss dealing with those guys.
Not so much that way. I was, because of, first right of refusal.
Right.
I was the one that did the deal with the company and said, yeah, you guys don't want to pay us this much money. I don't know what to tell you. I got company B over there willing to spend that much more. So how about you just sign this and we call it a day? You want to pour your brown sugar water in here. It's what it's going to cost this year.
So, but Florida State is acting like they've got a deal.
Yes.
And if they don't,
the board of trustees, the way that they're speaking, they are certainly speaking as if they have a deal.
Right. And I will say, Florida staying as quiet as they are leads me to believe that something's up. Because do you really think the Gators want the Noles in the SEC? I mean, really? Really? You don't think the back-to-back 6 and 7 football seasons have been bad enough? Okay. You don't think their basketball program, now being an NIT program, is bad enough? Now, these blankety blanks, remember, this is Florida talking. These blankety blanks are in the same blankety blank conference as us. Are you serious? They're on equal footing with us? The hell they are. They're the blankety blank Noles. And there's not a peep coming out of the University of Florida.
Not really a peep coming out of the University of Miami as well. I mean, Florida State is on their own island in the ACC right now. They are doing this solo amigo.
Either that, Mark, or they're poker players that you don't want to sit down with, honestly, because they are acting like all we have are aces underneath. Everything you can't see is an ace.
They're wearing sunglasses and a hat.
Right.
And it's inside and you're annoyed.
They're not even paying attention to all the other players at the table. That's how good their cards are. Just let me know when you guys are done. I'm all in.
It's only the future of your college football program, not that.
No, no big deal or anything. Remember, we did tell you, Florida fans, when you guys acquiesced and you and Georgia and South Carolina, you broke your bond. Okay. And you let Texas come into the SEC, and you knew how angry A&M was. And we said, if you vote yes on this, then you can't do anything to stop when Florida State, Miami, or Clemson wants to join the conference. You can't vote no. And that's why we thought that A&M had a real chance to get within one vote of blocking Texas coming in. But nope, the alliance, which had sworn forever, they went, oh, Texas and Oklahoma? Oh, yeah, sure, whatever they want. Okay. Besides, it's not like there'll ever be a day where we'll accept Florida State. I mean, we don't want Florida State. Why would the SEC be interested in Florida State?
16 is enough. We're not going bigger than 16.
No. Why do we need to go bigger than 16? Right.
So this is going to play out in real time. And we're in the state where it's all happening. Because of Florida State's actions yesterday, they placed themselves right in the middle of the realignment discussion. Maybe at the top of it. Because Arizona State, and Utah don't move the needle, kids.
Although it does further strengthen the Big 12. And how much better has UCF's life gotten lately? They went from joining a conference that at the time they were joining it, we were all like, oh, that's cute. And now, by the end of this month, they may be standing on top of the mountain going, we're number 3, baby. And there's only 3 players.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Straight vodka.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The Diamond District bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com, sign up for the Miller and Moulton second annual, third overall Fantasy Football Summit, dinner in Dr. Roto, Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. We'll see you in 12 nights. Tonight, Hall of Fame game. That would have been an easy poll question, by the way. Are you going to watch? It's preseason football. And not only that, it's like not even officially preseason football. I mean, I don't even think a single starter is going to suit up for either team tonight.
David?
Yeah.
What day was the Super Bowl played?
Well, it was the second Saturday in February. Off the top of my head, I think it was the 11th.
Okay. That's been a lot of days since we've seen helmets and pads that have mattered. And while this doesn't matter, it's not the USFL, it's not the XFL, it's not a bunch of teams and players that we've never heard of. These are just players we've never heard of on teams that we know.
It was February 12th, by the way.
It's been a long time since we've seen a National Football League game. What's the spread on tonight's game?
Apparently money's coming in on the Jets. It's down to 1.5. Browns are a 1.5 favorite. Yeah. Right. You're going to get to see, the Jets second overall pick from a couple of years ago, who's already been demoted. You know, that Zach Wilson guy who's got all the
so
hot
what
babes.
you're telling me is I'm going to see a former starting quarterback in the National Football League playing tonight.
You are, yes.
Whoa!
Not only that, you're going to see a guy who was the 11th overall pick of the draft, Mekhi Becton, who's a complete and utter bust, but you're going to see him try to block for him. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Heavy top draft picks playing in tonight's game is what you're telling me.
The highlight will probably be a sideline interview with Aaron Rodgers at some point during the game. That'll probably be the highlight tonight. And the Hall of Famers who are going in will be interviewed throughout the broadcast. Zach Thomas, Rondé Barber, they're going in together. So, for Dolphins and Bucks fans, there'll be reason to watch. You'll get your 5-10 minute interview there with those guys. Congratulations to them. Big weekend.
You're not turning it on, are you?
Not for a second, no. No. Doesn't interest me at all.
David, it doesn't matter whether or not it interests you. It is your right. It is your duty, quite frankly, as an American, to put this football game on for a minute or two.
What? My duty?
Your duty.
My duty? How dare you, sir, not watch the Jets and the Browns on August 3rd? How dare you?
Taken aback just a bit, David. We put a poll question up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just asked, what conference will Florida State be in by 2025?
Right. Not this year, not next year, the year after.
It is really close, believe it or not. The SEC is leading with 29% of the vote. The Big 12 and ACC are tied.
Wow.
And the Big 10's coming in last with around 19% of the vote.
I don't think Florida State would accept an offer to the Big 12. I don't. I don't think they would do what Oregon and Washington would do. I think Oregon and Washington, if told, listen, there's not going to be an invitation coming right now from the Big 10. So your choices are find salvation in the Big 12 and make your guaranteed $32 million a year, or deal with this Pac-12 Mountain West fiasco of a conference that's going to come, which, yes, you guys will headline it for the next couple years while you're desperately trying to get into the Big 10. But you also could be stuck here forever. So where do you want to, if you're going to be stuck, do you want to be stuck where you are or in the Big 12? I think Florida State, if pressed with that very same dilemma, hey, listen, you may never get the SEC or Big 10 invite that you're looking for. So you could stay in this jambalaya mess of an ACC that you're helping to create, by the way, or you could jump to the Big 12 and make a little more money. While I think Oregon and Washington would take the Big 12 offer and never unpack their boxes, desperately trying to move as soon as possible, I think Florida State would go, no, we're good. We're better than that. Not interested.
I agree with you. But they're talking to one, if not both conferences right now. You don't make the move they're making without having some insurances. They're just threatening to blow up all of college football, basically, David.
Well, there was an interesting comment from a board of trustee member yesterday who said that we've had our lawyers look at the grant of rights deal and it looks pretty ironclad. I thought that was actually more interesting than anything the president had to say, which is barring the financial unforeseen, we're going to have to leave. And the other board of trustee member who said, oh, we're leaving. It's just a matter of where and when. I thought the one board of trustee member who out of the side of his mouth said, yeah, we've taken a look at it. Our lawyers have. It looks pretty ironclad. Which, once again, that means you got to blow up that conference. You leave it, all your money could go to them.
Unless you blow it up. And by blowing it up, you mean 8 members need to go.
You need a majority. There's 14 schools in the conference. 7 won't do it. You need 8. And remember, they're not going to leave unless they know they have a place to go to.
That would require the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC all stepping up.
Exactly. Which means really that it would require ESPN and Fox to the largest degree, maybe to a small degree CBS and NBC stepping up. This, by the way, goes back to, there are an awful lot of people in college sports that feel that ESPN orchestrated Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC. And if you look at now at how and why schools are getting up and leaving, you don't think TV networks and TV money have a voice, if not a vote, if not maybe the actual say as to what's going on? I mean, it's just like politicians and the people who are bankrolling them. You don't think at the end of the day they pick up the phone and they go, yeah, Fred, yeah, you're going to vote a certain way on this, right? Let me tell you all the reasons why you should.
Yes, but my constituents think I should vote this way.
I understand that. They didn't get you elected. I did. We'll continue that facade that they're important and they elected you.
That is why I think Florida State to the Big 10 has more merit than most people do. Because on the surface, it doesn't make any sense. Academically, they're not there. And I know people keep texting me their U.S. News and World Report academic rating. That doesn't mean squat. It's the accreditations that schools receive. And that means a lot to the Big 10 if Big 10 presidents were running the Big 10. But I believe Fox is running the Big 10.
Now, I will say, Florida State has improved dramatically academically in the last 10 years. They're probably to equal footing of Nebraska, which at one point in time had the proper accreditation and now technically doesn't. Florida State, I think, is just short, but not where they were 10, 15 years ago. They're now really close to the Big Ten presidents going, oh, yeah, you can have dinner with us. Whereas 15 years ago, they wouldn't even taken the phone call. Dinner with us, please. Don't even let him drive up the lot. I don't want anybody to see him at the front porch. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. Miller and Moulton. Coming up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Joe, I'm not sure if it's illegal. It certainly would be against the ACC bylaws, but then again, if you're breaking up the conference, would that apply? Here's the problem, though. The schools won't accept the check unless they have a place to go to. You know, what good does that $10 million do me if I don't have a conference to go to? And if they have a conference to go to, FSU pay them.
And, you know, the one thing about this is that I know North Carolina's, you know, linked to FSU as one of those 7 schools. North Carolina blowing up the ACC would be so unpopular in North Carolina.
I mean, that's the soul of the conference right there.
It would be, you know, because there were rumors a while ago about if the SEC were to expand in North Carolina, they'd take NC State. It wouldn't matter to the ACC. North Carolina blowing up the ACC would just be devastating to that region. It really would. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
RCB, if the Big Ten wanted, they could grab Florida State, A&M, and Miami. They'd say yes. Notre Dame's the only tough one to get a yes from. They've been asked twice. They've said no both times.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Talking a lot of conference realignment today. Tonight, 8 Eastern, there's a Board of Regents meeting in Arizona. The Board of Regents out there handles Arizona, Arizona State, and Northern Arizona. The expectation is the presidents of both Arizona and Arizona State will recommend leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12 at that meeting, whether it officially happens tonight or it technically happens tomorrow morning. That is the expectation. Then the Big 12 will add a 16th team. We don't know if that also comes from the Pac-12. The expectation is it will be Utah reluctantly. If for whatever reason Utah still decides they don't want to join BYU in a conference, then the invitation will likely go out to UConn. Mark, we've been talking about, where Florida State, Miami would go, and, if the ACC breaks up, who's going where. I do want to just reiterate, Greg Swaim has been our conference realignment source this week on the show. We've had him on twice, earlier today and on Tuesday. Everything he said on Tuesday turned out to be correct, not quote-unquote officially, but we all know it's going to happen within 24 to 72 hours. He sent out a tweet last night, Mark, saying, for those that want to know if like 2 ACC schools go to the Big Ten and Florida State and Clemson go to the SEC, who's going to the Big 12? And he said, bit of a gut feel here based on people I've talked to and what have you. But I think the Big 12 would extend invitations to NC State, Louisville, Va-Tech, and Pitt. Now, I know nobody really cares about this, but do you know what a big win this would be for like Cincinnati and West Virginia? I mean, first off, if you're West Virginia, wait, we're going to get Virginia Tech and Pitt? We're going to be able to do the backyard brawl in all sports? Okay, we got Cincinnati, And Louisville and Vatek? Are you serious? We just went from being alone to this is a nice little pod. And not only that, I think it would hurt. We're talking about trying to keep the ACC together football-wise, and getting Notre Dame to join and what have you. Notre Dame's got history with Pitt. All right. I think that'd be a big loss for the ACC trying to keep their football together. Pitt, they've got some legacy. It's a while ago, but they've got some legacy.
And it would be great for the Big 12 to get Pitt. I'm with you 100% there.
So just throwing that out there. He's been our information guy. His information's been damn near right all the time. So just wanted to throw that out there.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1492, David. Columbus leaves Spain for the Indies.
Man, did he get lost.
Wow. Bad map.
Well, I mean, the whole flat round thing, that really throw things off.
Where's your triptych when you need it? 1852, the first intercollegiate sporting event takes place as Harvard takes down Yale in rowing. 1906, Washington Nationals' Tom Hughes becomes the first Major League pitcher to win a 1-0 extra inning games off his own home run. 1909, umpire Tim Hurst. This is probably where all the problems with umpires started. Tim Hurst. He spit in the face of second baseman Eddie Collins, who questioned a call.
Wow.
2 weeks later, Hurst would be banned for life.
So the umpire spit at the player.
Right.
Banned for life. I mean, hell, Alomar got like a month when he spit at the home plate umpire.
1921, Commissioner Kennesaw Landis bans the 8 Chicago White Sox players for life.
I'm being serious for a second because obviously everybody's long since dead. Are you a little surprised that none of the commissioners since have taken a look at the evidence and said, I don't know if this was the right decision, and just posthumously reinstated them?
I'm stunned.
I mean, we went over the fact earlier in the week they were exonerated in court. They were found not to have cheated.
Neither here nor there. Just the Shoeless Joe Jackson case of the numbers.
Right. He was illiterate. He signed his signature with the letter X. I mean, anyway.
1923, Calvin Coolidge becomes our 30th president upon the death of Warren G. Harding. 1936, great day for America, bad day for Germany. Jesse Owens wins the 100-meter in front of Hitler.
And he was just getting started.
It was his first of 4 golds.
That's right. You don't like me now. Wait till the weekend.
Give this a week. Today in 41, Joe DiMaggio goes 0 for 4 in a 6-2 loss, ending his on-base streak of 74 games.
Because he had the 56-game hitting streak. He walked in the game that he didn't get a hit in. Then he had a 17-game hitting streak, hence the 74, and then today.
1948, Satchel Paige makes his debut in the major leagues with Cleveland. Goes 7 innings, gets a win at age 42.
Yeah, okay. Right.
46?
Yeah. Maybe.
Today in 1955, the Automobile Association of America ends support of auto racing. That would, to me, be a big loss. It was after a disaster at Le Mans and the Bill Vukovich death at Indy earlier in the year were the factors of why AAA left auto racing.
In 55?
Yes.
Huh. Guess they didn't take them up on their word.
Today in 1960, the only time it ever happened in Major League Baseball, Detroit and Cleveland trade managers. Jimmy Dykes, Joe Gordon traded for one another. Today in 1960 as well, Lee Petty and his sons Richard and Maurice all raced against each other for the first and only time at the Dixie Speedway in Birmingham. Where the hell else would it be? Richard finished second, Lee finished third. Today in 1979, Sam Snead, at the age of 67 years, 2 months, and 7 days, makes the cut at a major. It was the PGA at Oakland Hills.
Sam Snead in his early 60s finished tied for fourth at the PGA, 3 shots out of a playoff. He was 62 years old.
1984, Mary Lou Retton scores a 10 on her final vault to win the individual all-around, becoming the first American woman to do so at an Olympics. The America Bowl exhibition game was held at Wembley today in 86. The Bears beat the Cowboys 17-6.
Oh, the Bears had just won the Super Bowl. Landry was still coaching the Cowboys. Wow.
Yeah, and they still played exhibition games in 86 where players played.
Right.
Tony Bennett would have celebrated a birthday today.
97, right?
Yeah. Martin Sheen's 83. Martha Stewart's 82. Marcel Dion is 72. Todd Christensen is 67. James Hetfield from Metallica is 60. Nate McMillan is 59. Tom Brady's 46. Todd Gurley's 29. And Zach Wilson's 24.
Don't
what
you
did
think,
I miss, David?
Don't you think Marcel Dion would still in the rec league it'd be the leading scorer? Don't you think? I do. The NBA was born today. All right. The rival BAA and the NBL merged to form the NBA on this date in 1949. So the one league had the major cities, the one league had the small cities, and there you go. So the merger happened today. First game wasn't played today, but the business end merger. The NBA was formed today in 49. The Spy Who Loved Me was released in theaters today in 1977. I was too young. I wasn't allowed in. Pretty sure that was an R-rated movie. I was 11. And a very sad day in American history today. The Macarena became number 1 on this day in 1996.
I can see Felipe.
Yes. Latin party special right there.
Yeah, going right from the hustle to the Macarena.
You and Graham. At the family functions. Yes.
Can you go straight from the hustle to the Macarena? Don't you have to?
Absolutely.
Hell, you might mix in the YMCA and call it a day.
Well, I'm just thinking, don't you have to have something in the middle? I mean, there's about a 20-year difference between the songs. Don't you have to just slide in a song in between?
Jump Around by House of Pain. Wisconsin football.
That's all I got.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we go to Georgia, Hapeville, Georgia, where a boy was looking to make some money. Knocking on doors, asking to trim hedges, mow lawns, do whatever he can to make money. He wants to afford his PlayStation 5. You know, of course, what happened. One of the neighbors called the police and asked for him to be removed from the area. Police came, said the boy was polite, respectful, and truthful. Said he was in the area because he wanted to do yard work, pulling weeds, cutting grass, and trimming hedges to save up for a PlayStation. Officer Colleran of the City of Hateful Police Department's also a gamer. Thought he'd help him reach his goal, went back to the office, pooled the officers, got some cash, came back and picked the boy up with a new PlayStation 5. Good job.
Outstanding job. Think about that kid's attitudes towards the police for the rest of his life.
Yep. We go to Maryland for the bad, where a Maryland man is facing charges after he decided to steal some explosives from the place that he worked and brought them home. His estranged wife reported to the authorities that she found the suspicious items in the basement of their home. He had blasting caps, no word on what he was going to blast, but I'm guessing the estranged wife thought it might have been her. And finally, the ugly. We come back to the 239 where, David, I don't know if you saw this story yesterday, but a helicopter door landed on a store's roof. Leader's Furniture, I believe on 41, had the door of a helicopter fall off and land on their roof. Fortunately, no one was injured by the door or by the people flying in the helicopter without the door.
Oops.
That's all I need. Go on a helicopter ride for the first time and the damn door falls off.
Right. There's only two of them.
Right. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 3rd, 2023.
Yeah, I edited a piece about that yesterday at work. It was a big door, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hard to cover that story, though. You know, hey, a door fell on a roof. No one got injured. Back to you.
Look at Felipe over here. Coming the TV news hound. I love it.
Better be careful.
11 baseball
They're
games.
listening.
They are. They do. There's a few people there. Listen, one of them's got an office. Know it for a fact. 11 baseball games today, 5 in the afternoon, including Mighty Nooner. Phillies and Marlins. First pitch around 12:10 officially. Marlins hoping to split the 4-game series, get back ahead of the Phillies in the playoff race. If my information is correct, the Pirates and the Brewers are playing tonight, 7 o'clock on Fox. Big Fox, not FS1. Fox. First off, the Reds and the Cubs are playing tonight. The Cubs are more popular than either the Pirates or the Brewers, and the Reds have De La Cruz. So that's the first thing I'd do there. I'd call up the Cubs and go, listen, can you move the game up a little bit? Here's another one, though. Ohtani's pitching tonight. Now, I know it's West Coast, but you don't care. You're a TV network. You call them up and you say you're cashing the checks, right? Okay, yeah, going to have a twilighter. Don't know what to tell you. Ohtani's pitching, 4 or 5 o'clock local time. Yeah, get him going.
And it'll go even better because his stuff will be even nastier in twilight.
Right, because the Mariners won't be able to see it. But that's what I got, that the Pirates...
No, you're right. I got it too.
Okay, although the Astros-Yankees is also on Fox, I'm guessing that's the game most of the country will see. I missed that. So we're going to see Astros-Yankees tonight, have a feeling, on Fox. Hall of Fame game. By the way, all the money's coming in on the Jets. The Jets are now a 1 to 2 point favorite, depending on where you look. Not kidding. When the show started, they were a 2-point dog. That's 3-4 points. It's moved in 3-4 hours.
The Zach Wilson factor. People got up this morning and said, wait a minute, Zach Wilson's going to start playing this game? I'll take the Jets.
So NBC, 8 o'clock.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. Miller and Moulton. Have a great day.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around.